Good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa Tully, and I am the director of the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. Today is One Day for Iowa, the University of Iowa's 24-hour online giving day. This year, I have the honor of introducing our live stream. Students, faculty, and staff will come to the studio to highlight the courses, organizations, and opportunities here in SJMC. All SJMC students, not just those on the live stream, have the opportunity to engage in experiential learning, from being a photographer for the Mount Vernon Lisbon Sun to creating marketing content for our local food pantries. These experiential learning opportunities give our students the space to develop their journalism and strategic communication skills, critical thinking skills, and problem-solving skills while making a real difference in our community. That, to me, is really special. We'll have newsroom temperature checks throughout the day to see how close we are to reaching our fundraising goal of $7,500. Anytime throughout the live stream, you can donate any amount to support our students as they train to become the next generation of storytellers. Just go to onedayforiowa.org/SJMC. You can also support the great work happening at the Daily Iowan by visiting onedayforiowa.org/DI25. I'll be here at the end of the live stream as part of the SJMC podcast. But for now, you can tune in at any time this morning as we showcase the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. I'll see you all later today.
Good morning, Hawkeyes. We are here, and this is our thermometer for SJMC. You can see here we'll be donating at One Day for Iowa.
For Iowa live stream here today on the campus of the University of Iowa. I'm AJ Reister. I'm now joined by a phenomenal cast and crew from the Daily Iowan. Jason Brumman, the publisher and owner of the Daily Iowan, Jamie Martin Trainer, the executive editor for the Daily Iowan, and Joel Keller, the multi-reporter from all different ranges, whether it comes to the paper or for TV. We have three phenomenal characters on stage for us here today. But let's start with you, Jason. The recent acquisition of 2 local newspapers. What went into the thought process of that, and why did that end up coming around?
Yeah, thanks, AJ. So that was 13 months ago. It's February last year is when we finalized that. So they've been under our ownership for a year. And a couple of things went into it. Ultimately, if we didn't go in and acquire those newspapers, there was a real chance that they were going to close and not exist anymore. And so, we thought Mount Vernon and Solon deserved to have a community newspaper and a strong community newspaper. But the other motivating factor for us, quite honestly, is I'm sure you'll ask Joel here in a little bit, but is to be able to put student journalists into these markets and enhance the coverage that the professionals are doing. So whether that's through internships, through classwork, or through Daily Iowan staff contributing to these papers, really allowed us to provide a different experience than what we were doing at the DI while elevating these community newspapers.
And you talked about the importance of local news, especially here in this Iowa City area. What, in your eyes, is the importance of local news?
I think it's so critical right now. If you look at what's happening statewide here in Iowa and nationally, and just the fast changing environment of federal government, state government, local government, and the role that newspapers play in informing the communities. And I think both the community newspapers, but even the Daily Iowan, the DI acts more like a professional community newspaper than a college newspaper, right? We don't cover just what's happening on campus. We cover city government, we cover the school board, we cover local elections. We are the information source, I feel like, for Iowa City. And between the Daily Iowan and DITV, we cover stories from every platform and every angle.
Yeah, getting that true multimedia view of the Iowa City area. Now, you mentioned that a lot of the students actually work for these 2 new newspapers that you acquired. What are these students doing for those newspapers specifically?
Yeah, so it's kind of all hands on deck from different aspects. So in some cases, it's as simple as these newspapers running a Daily Iowan story that would fit in their market, right? So Solon is in Johnson County, as is Iowa City. The DI, we have the staff to cover Johnson County local government. And Solon does not, right? So Solon, but it's very relevant to their community and their readership. So some cases it's just running a Daily Iowan story. Our DI digital team does the digital production for both of these newspapers. Our DI editors do copy editing for these newspapers. And then interns, Joel was our inaugural intern. He liked it so much, I think. Joel, you can tell me otherwise, but that he continued that this whole school year. We now have 3 interns working in Solon and Mount Vernon. And then the classes, there's a prep sports report class in the journalism school, and then an Iowa Community News class this semester that are contributing bylines. You can pick up the Mount Vernon and Solon newspaper and you'll see in any given week 5 or 6, maybe more, bylines of journalism students contributing to those newspapers.
I mean, how cool is it for you as the publisher to see your students that you work with almost on a daily basis? You see them come through these doors all the time. How cool is it for you to see them be able to do the stories for the DI, but also get that outreach for these other communities?
It's real exciting, and it's something I have a lot of pride about. It was not something that I even dreamt as a possibility. The acquisition initiated from the previous owner, I should say, reaching out to us about our interest in it. It was not even something I would have thought about, right? This is the first instance in the country of a student media nonprofit owning and operating community newspapers. And so, I'm a Daily Iowan alum myself. I'm a journalism school alum. I, have bought in and I drink the Kool-Aid in terms of what the experience that we provide. And I think it's fantastic, right? Like, we travel all over the country. We were just in Oklahoma last week for women's basketball, unfortunate ending. We were in Philadelphia for NCAA wrestling. We're going to be in DC next month visiting with our senators and representatives. We offer an incredible experience at the Daily Iowan, and now with these community newspapers, it's a different kind of experience, but I think one that is very foundational and critical for journalism.
Absolutely. And let's ask the students about their experiences with the Daily Iowan and these acquisitions with the newspapers. I'll start with you, Jamie. You are the executive editor of the Daily Iowan. What is your role specifically, and how fun has it been for you to step into this role this year?
Yeah, so my role as executive editor of the Daily Iowan is to help with the sort of content side of things, whether that be on our weekly print publication or on the digital online side of things. Deciding what stories run, helping go through the editing process, and then managing our different section editors. The Daily Iowan covers a wide breadth of things, as Jason was saying, from local government to the arts in Iowa City to national politics and how that seeps down and impacts us at the state level. So there's a lot of moving parts, and I help sort of connect those pieces. And just in terms of the learning experience, being executive editor of the Daily Iowan has been absolutely invaluable. I know that there are skills that I've had to learn to be flexible and learn to grow with that I'll take on for my professional career or for the rest of my life, I imagine. So yeah, truly just an experience that you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else.
Especially as a student, stepping up
Yes.
into a role like that, it's
Yep.
not easy.
No, absolutely not. And I think that the best part about the Daily Iowan is that we're considered a learning lab, and so people can come in without an ounce of knowledge about anything journalism related. And the environment that we like to cultivate here lets people grow throughout the institution and work their way up as they continue, working through the different roles and parts. So that's just been fantastic, and one of my favorite parts as a leader here is to see people grow and improve as they spend time here with our different staff members.
And how has your role grown with the acquisition of the two local newspapers? How has it grown for you as an executive editor?
Yeah, I think that communication in the journalism industry as a whole is probably one of the most important skill sets that I've learned, and the acquisition has only helped that. I've been able to, work with Chris and Nathan, who are the editors of the two papers, just in terms of chatting about what stories we have that would definitely be applicable to their readership, or what copy editing timelines are going to look like, whether or not we've published stuff on their digital side of things. So just helping with that communication in a very professional capacity. And again, to echo what Jason was saying earlier, the Daily Iowan doesn't necessarily operate like your average college newsroom. We are serving Iowa City, and these other communities. And so this is, again, just taking that to the next level in terms of professionalism and those skills that will continue growing into myself and all of my peers' careers.
And you've also become a great journalist yourself through these years at the Daily Iowan. What's been some of your favorite works of your own that you really liked working through?
Great question. Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to write a profile on the Iowa women's basketball head coach, Jan Jensen, who stepped into that position this year. I was able to get a one-on-one interview with her thanks to the sort of relationship that we've cultivated with Iowa's athletics department. So that was an honor. And then she invited me to her home. I got to meet her family. I went to her hometown. And it's in-depth reporting like that the Daily Iowan is committed to, that I think is really representative of our mission and what we're trying to do. So being able to report that myself was a really fantastic experience.
Especially someone at the national level that gets a lot of,
Yes.
the Iowa women's basketball team gets a lot of media coverage, so to be able to get that behind the scenes look. Not even a lot of national people get that look, so that's pretty fun.
Absolutely.
Now, Joel, you do both sides. You do the print, you do the TV side. What has been your role as a reporter that you've really enjoyed about being a part of the DI and the two new acquired newspapers?
Yeah, really just no day is the same. Depending on the day, I'll come in and do TV or print, and the stories are completely different. With the TV, with the DI, mainly covering University of Iowa, especially athletics, and then with the two papers, I'm going more small town, covering local news, community news, and what's going on in those two communities. So it's a lot of fun to change it up all the time.
How are you able to balance all that? 'Cause I know you do more than just reporting too. You like to do broadcasting with Big
Yeah.
Ten Plus, among as many other things. But how are you able to balance all that stuff as a student to continue to learn and grow as a reporter?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of times it's very hard to balance, but just you got to anticipate what's coming up. And if I know I have a busy week with broadcast stuff, then I'll take less stories or move the story. Say I can't do a story by this week, but I can work on it and have it done by the following week. So that helps. Just keeping a good schedule really is all that matters. But yeah, it can get a little overwhelming at times.
What has been one of your favorite stories that you've been able to cover, whether it is with the DI or with Mount Vernon or Solon? What's been your favorite story to cover?
Yeah, I think my favorite story, I did both for DITV and the Mount Vernon Lisbon Sun, and it was on this basketball player who went to Cornell College and ended up playing pro ball at Taiwan, but before he came to Iowa, he was born in Brunei, went up to the UK for a little bit, and he'd been in 7 different countries. So I'm really paraphrasing there, but he's done a lot. He had a long journey and somehow ended up in Cornell College in Mount Vernon, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy connection how it all comes back together. And I watched that story and it was very well put together. So
Thank you.
very good job with that.
Thank you.
But I'll ask you a couple more questions here as we have some time. With this acquisition of Mount Vernon and Solon, you've also been able to go through and work with the sports reporting class here run by Wayne Drees. What was that? How has that been for you working also on the print side, but also in the classroom here at Iowa?
Yeah, it's been fun because I have that experience over the summer. I've been able to like say like, hey, like this is where you talk to the coach, to some people who are covering like a game for the first time. So that was really good. But it's been fun to like see how other students cover like the same game, the same team that I'm covering, and then take parts that I like and like add it to my stories and change up my writing style a little bit as I like continue to like adjust my voice when I'm writing.
Absolutely. We'll get back to Jason. I'm not sure how much more time we have left with these, so I'm going to keep running with questions. Perfect. I've been told we have plenty of time.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So, Jason, when you look at the overall students and you oversee the print side, we also see the TV side. Over the last few years, what's been some of the growth that you've seen as these new waves of students come in? As a publisher, how have you seen this place grow the last few years?
Yeah, so I'm finishing up my 8th year as publisher here, and again, I've got history before that as a student several years ago, but I would say, particularly in the last 3 to 4 years, the growth that we've had on digital platforms and TV, I think, is really astounding, right? So, from a digital standpoint, we're breaking news, we're putting immediate news up on the website, but the longer form projects and being able to show a story that has multimedia elements and graphics and video and slideshow and data and have that in one clean presentation that is more of an experience for a digital news consumer, I think that is really exciting. And I look at, we're sitting in the DITV studio, and I look at what we've done with TV in the last few years and have really elevated that to a new level in terms of production values and graphics and and again, I think with our staffing, whether it's last year's like Final Four coverage, where we have a quad box and 4 reporters in 4 different locations covering women's basketball championship game or an election night or a caucus night, and we have more reporters deployed across the state of Iowa than any other news organization in the state, and that is pretty neat.
Well, let's talk about that women's basketball team. Last year, you guys put out that book that sold a lot of copies, and we're still pushing it out to this day. What was that process like for you as a publisher? And I'll ask you guys about what it was like being able to be a part of that and report on that team a little bit. But what was it like as a publisher coming up with that original idea to even come up with a book to cover this historic team?
Yes, so Danny Wilcox-Frazier, our photo coach and documentary workshop director, came up with the idea for the book, and something we pitched to athletics, and somewhat to a surprise to us, they said yes and agreed to give us this incredible access, right? So we had photographers essentially embedded with the team in the locker room and traveling with the team, right? Like the hours before the Final Four, have a photographer in Caitlin Clark's hotel room as she's kind of mentally getting ready for that game. Just an incredible experience, and we traveled all over with the team and certainly covered it from a DI and DITV standpoint. So it's one of those seasons where we thought could be special. It's hard to predict this team's going to go to a national championship, right?
Yeah.
Those are tough to pick. I don't know how your bracket's doing. Mine's not doing great.
Oh no, mine have been buses since the first few games.
Yeah. So, but we had more of a sense of this moment, right? And that's more than a moment. Obviously, was the title of the book, but I think incredible experience for students, and really happy to capture this historic season for Iowa.
What was it like covering it from your standpoint? You were last year, you're still as a reporter. What was it in your shoes? What was it like to be a part of that?
Yeah, so I was able to work on the digital team for the past couple of years at the Daily Iowan as Caitlin Clark sort of came into this national spotlight role, and seeing the difference that the Daily Iowan got to experience from a digital perspective, just regarding like reach and how many people were actually engaging with our content, was fantastic. Because, you know, when you're working in a community with a smaller readership, which like Iowa City's a bigger area, I would say, but you know, not compared to those big cities. But when we have these national headlines, people from all over the country are looking at the Daily Iowan, are looking at these Iowa publications because we're trusted to cover this better than maybe some of the national publications, just because we have this proximity and we've been covering it so thoroughly for the past, you know, decades upon decades. So being able to see all these eyes on our publication and help, you know, cultivate our coverage and make sure that we're doing the best to match this moment and meet this moment where it's at in terms of attention and energy that we're giving to the coverage was really neat, and is something that I don't think a lot of newsrooms, period, in Iowa or college newsrooms or ever get to experience, just because we, you know, we're perfectly situated to cover this massive, massive moment within college athletics, and what better publication to cover that than the University of Iowa's student-run newspaper.
I could not agree more.
Yep.
But from a digital standpoint, you're also trying to push out a lot of that information pretty quickly.
Yes.
And especially when her record was coming around,
Yeah.
I remember there were those days where we had those meetings like, what is the game plan for when she breaks these scoring records? What was that like for you as a digital person, trying to get that stuff out as quickly as possible? What was the game plan?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite experiences actually of working in digital last year, is both understanding how we want to cover it and what the best medium to cover it as. And as journalism sort of becomes increasingly digital, always have a soft spot in my heart for print. But obviously digital is the place where a lot of people are getting their news. And that means that we can be a little more creative on how we're displaying information. And so we talked a lot about that lead up, how we wanted to talk about Caitlin Clark breaking the record. And so we had some, you know, moving infographics that we helped code and design and put on the website that people could engage with, which ended up being pretty popular and then replicated by other national publications after we had published it. So that was neat to be a part of. Just as behind the scenes conversations in terms of both like what stories do we want to come out, but also what other multimedia elements can we have? What do we have that we can bring to the table that other publications aren't doing yet that they might want to do after the fact?
I think that's really great experience too, right?
Yeah.
The having different student leaders in a meeting and planning coverage of like, okay, photo and TV and digital and print, and how are we going to cover this, whether it's a record-breaking game or a big event like a Final Four.
Yep, and I've been able to sort of take those skill sets and use them to get internships and hopefully jobs post-grad. So,
We all have our fingers crossed for that one.
right.
Now, Joel, when all of that was happening, it was kind of your first semester with the Daily Iowan and getting involved here at the studio. What was that like for you, stepping into that role as a reporter when all of this was going on?
Yeah, it was really cool to see just like how, I guess, professional everything was around here. It was like, oh, like this is just a college newsroom, and it's like, it's actually not. It's very professional, and we cover the big stories like that. I would have never thought going into this, like, oh yeah, we'll be able to send so many people to all these events and stuff, like to the Final Four, we're sending a full team and stuff like that. And it's really cool that coming in that I would know, like, oh, once I get some stories under my belt, I'll start getting these opportunities. And it really makes you want to work harder so that you can earn those opportunities.
And being able to travel and do all these things, it all comes back to having some help too. So how are some ways that people can donate and help out so that students can continue to get these experiences?
For me, it's I think you hit the nail on the head there, the travel, but it's the things that we do that other college newspapers do not do, right? So we travel more than any college newspaper in the country. We spent, $50-some thousand last year on travel. A lot of it is sports, right? We go to football games, bowl games, we go to tournaments, Big Ten and national. DC, this year for the election, we had reporters in Nevada, in Georgia, and Wisconsin to cover the swing state perspective. So that's a huge, well, certainly a perk of, I think, working at the DI, but it is a luxury item, right, for us, something that we get to do that others maybe don't have the capability to do. So for me, it's travel, it's equipment, making sure we've got the latest and greatest, so our student journalists are ready for their first job and know how to use equipment that is out in the field professionally. And then I would also say, scholarship opportunities, right? So both the School of Journalism gives out a lot of scholarship money every year, which I know is a huge help. And at the Daily Iowan, we have scholarships that we recruit high school seniors for, and then we have like award-based scholarships for great performance in the newsroom.
Now, Jamie and Joel, I know you both have received some scholarships in the past. We'll start with you, Jamie. What were some of the scholarships that you received, and how has that helped you continue your career here at the DI?
Yeah, so I'm a first-generation college student, actually, who's paying for college herself. So the scholarships are definitely invaluable. I know that the Lawrence Farrell Scholarship is one big one that's awarded to students from the state of Iowa. I'm from Cedar Rapids, so a short 30, 45-minute drive from Iowa City. So that was an absolute honor to receive. And then I've also received a few of the merit-based scholarships that Jason had mentioned, just for dedicating a lot of time and energy to the Daily Iowan, which has helped support, covering tuition, covering rent, covering these important expenditures that allow me to focus a lot of time and energy and attention to the Daily Iowan and my academics here at Iowa.
Yes, rent is a big one.
Yes, that it is.
Hey, Joel, what about you? What were some of the scholarships that you received?
Yes, I actually didn't receive any scholarships, but the internship was a big part of like how I've been able to continue to come to college, especially this final year, and pay for rent, groceries, and tuition and all that.
Absolutely. It's all putting towards some of those small things just to get us by, right?
Exactly.
That's
Focus
awesome.
more on the stories and stuff.
Exactly. Let's finish up things with talking about what's been going on this year. What have been some of the big goals, especially this last semester? There is no, national record-breaking women's basketball team this year. So, what have been some of the big stories that you guys have been able to cover this year?
I'll say a lot of the political mechanisms. Again, Jason had talked about this a bit earlier, but there's been a lot happening both at the state and federal level. And with all of these higher ed, Department of Ed changes, that's going to trickle down and deeply impact the state of Iowa. And so being able to sort of navigate what this coverage looks like and continue furthering it and reporting on what for a lot of people is just a giant question mark has truly been an honor, because, we're students, we're learning, we're doing our best to cover, but we're also really helping serve our community, and the feedback that we've gotten has been very, very positive in that regard.
Absolutely. Joel, what are you working on?
I got a lot on my list right now. But, currently I've got a story on this Cornell girls wrestling coach. That's a really cool story about his life and his journey. And then I'm hoping to get some stories on some athletes here at Iowa, or former athletes at Iowa, who are looking to make their pro debut in the MLB. So we'll see if we can get those going. But on top of that, just a lot of stolen community news, and I'm starting to lean more into like feature stories, especially with more interns on who can devote more time to the local news as it happens weekly. So going into more features is going to be really fun the rest of the semester.
That Cornell women's wrestling coach story sounds pretty interesting. I wonder who gave you that idea.
It might have been you, I don't know.
Who knows? But we thank you guys for coming up here today on One Day for Iowa. It really means a lot. Thank you for sharing your stories. And be sure to stay tuned here at the live stream. We have so many more interviews coming up and a whole lot of fun for you guys. Keep scanning the QR code. It helps us all out so that we can continue to do what we love. Stay tuned for more right after this.
Our journeys start here, in this most unique of places where we, like generations before us, find our voice, our meaning, where we add form to our highest ambitions, where we constantly redefine who we are. We need leaders, not followers, doers, not bystanders, believers, not cynics. But where do we find these new industrialists, these tellers of truth? At the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Iowa. For over 100 years, the school has nurtured creative disruptors, information pioneers, and truth revolutionaries who continue to help us to discover, define, and explain the world. From George Gallup in 1923 to the first master's degree awarded to a woman in the study of journalism, this tradition of innovation, imagination, and accomplishment provides us with a roadmap for the future inscribed with the highest ideals and boldest aspirations for our students, our faculty, and the world around us.
The best for me was working at the Daily Iowan. It was a wonderful experience for somebody coming from abroad and definitely life-changing.
I don't think I was a good advocate for myself until I went to Iowa, and I had some professors that said, you know, you need to advocate for yourself. If you don't know something, if you want to know more, you need to come to me and I'll help you do it. And they did.
The long Friday nights that I spent putting together shows and trying to get them out on the internet before our deadline, those are just memories that I have of working with a handful of people who were just as dedicated as I was.
Some of the most important people in my life I met in Iowa, and they were important to me because they taught me some basic things about humanity and about people that I still carry to this day.
I've got determination and drive, and I want to be creative, and I don't want to feel held back. And the journalism school lets you do everything you can think of and then encourages you to do more.
I would say if you have any kind of curiosity about the world you live in and you want to make the place you live in a better place, journalism is a great, great opportunity, and besides, it's a lot of fun.
Our missions are varied, our tools are diverse. Our culture is inclusive and powerful. But what we all have in common is that we are wired for connection. Connection across time and technology, culture and race. We are the makers, the builders, the dreamers who have a relentless passion for our craft and an unwavering commitment to pursue truth and to ensure that those who come after us continue to build on our legacy of innovation, imagination, and accomplishment. Because in the end, it's about getting it right and having fun along the way. Fulfilling our purpose, following our passions, building a better world, and making our dreams come true.
My name is Alexandra Scores, and I'm a 2021 graduate at the University of Iowa, where I studied in the Journalism and Mass Communication School. I was also the managing editor of the Daily Iowan, the student-ran newspaper. These experiences and more at Iowa actually propelled my career to where I am today. Today I work at CNN in Washington, D.C., where I cover transportation. I wouldn't have had this experience if it weren't for my schooling and all of the professors and people that I had in my support group at Iowa. Supporting students now is so critical in order to help them achieve their goals and overcome any challenges they face.
Hi Hawkeyes and happy One Day for Iowa. I'm Christine Valora and we're here in the newsroom and we're looking at the thermometer for One Day for Iowa. So we'll be tracking all of our donations today with a goal leading up to $7,500. You can donate today at onedayforiowa.org or at /SJMC or onedayforiowa.org/DI25. You can donate to respective orgs or you can donate to both links. We would love to see the support because without that, without our friends, alumni, any SJMC supporters, we can put on publications like the DI and support our students through scholarships. You can definitely join in different Hawkeye challenges today with social media. So first is a photo mosaic challenge for the Center for Advancement. So post your favorite Hawkeye photo and tag your department that you're donating to and use the hashtag #OneDayForIowa. As we continue the program, we'll check back in and the thermometer will rise.
Feel
Sure.
free.
Sure,
You have
yeah.
it.
How do we know when we're live? The red button somewhere?
You'll see that.
Okay.
You'll see.
Oh.
Welcome back to the DITV studio, and we have some special guests here today. Jeff Grismore and Sophie Nettleton are joining us. They're in charge of the Iowa Agency, the Adler Agency here at the Adler Journalism School. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're really excited to have you.
Great to be here.
Thanks. And just to start, Jeff, if you can give a little bit of a background on what the Adler Agency is.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've really been focused on in this school for a number of years is giving practical applications to students, right? Like the DI is a good example, right? And so in my role as the track head of strategic communications, we've really been focused on trying to provide an agency experience because we have a lot of students that graduate in StratCom that go to work for agencies. And so what we're trying to do is extend that kind of practical application. So we started the Adler Agency in the fall of 2024, so this is only our second semester doing this. But the objective, again, is to give students a real agency experience. So we work with both for-profit and nonprofit clients. So we divide the team into two. Sophie's on the nonprofit side for the most part, and then my students are on the for-profit side. So we go out and we get a nonprofit client, and we get a client that's willing to pay for having work produced. So this is our second semester. I think things are going, well from my perspective. Maybe Sophie would.
I think so too. Yeah.
Great. And what's some of the work that has come out of the agency so far that you guys have done?
Sure. So I worked for the food pantry last semester, and we did a lot of content creation then to help boost their donors, specifically monetary donors, and we wanted to boost their social media so they could get more people coming in and volunteering too there. So a lot of short videos or long form videos too for their website.
Excellent. And what kind of services do you guide students, Jeff? Is that kind of your role in making sure that they can get involved and know what they're doing in the agency?
Yeah, so what we do is we replicate a real agency experience. So that's kind of my background. I came from an agency. And so what we do is on the for-profit client, well, actually on both sides, we go through a 6-step creative process that starts with discovery. So it's discovery, ideation, creation, implementation, analysis, and relaunch is basically the creative process. And so we work through each one of those phases. So when a client comes in, the first month or so is spent in discovery, like what are their challenges, what are their opportunities, what are they trying to accomplish, right? Kind of a blank slate, pure marketing application. And that involves frequent discussions with the client, discussions with ourselves, our team, trying to figure out what's the best solution.
Because I mean, the thing that's interesting about this, it's in kind of the Stratcom world, we're actually trying to persuade a target audience to do something, right? So in Sophie's case, she mentioned the food pantry. What we're doing with what we did in the food pantry, we're trying to persuade more people to volunteer for the food pantry. We're trying to persuade people to give donations, right? So we're trying to get the word out, if you will. So all clients are different. On the paid side of things, you know, we're really focused on clients come to us with a challenge or an opportunity or a problem, you know, and they need that problem solved. And so it's a real agency environment, you know, where we're getting paid to do this work on the for-profit side, and we have to produce results. So it's, you know, it's not like, you know, this isn't a theoretical application for students. This is actually real-time stuff, and our clients are demanding, even on the nonprofit side. You know, they're giving us a lot of hours of their time, and they're giving us, you know, they're letting us into their world. You know, we go out, and Sophie's been, you know, going out to these nonprofits and experiencing what the food pantry's like. And in this semester, we're working with Houses into Homes. And so what we're able to do is get all this background information and then create a suite of services that help them to solve their problems.
Excellent. And I know you mentioned the food pantry. I've seen that really take off in the IMU. I mean, last year it really was not as big as it is now. And every time I walk into the IMU, it's always thriving, and people are aware of what it does and what it is. And I think that's great. And thanks to you guys helping out with that. Mm-hmm. And we actually have a little promo about the food pantry that we're going to play for our viewers. So let's take a look.
Great.
Hello, welcome to the Coralville Community Food Pantry. My name's John and I'm the Executive Director here. At the Food Pantry, we believe food is a basic human right and that food has the power to bring people together. Our work here relies heavily on volunteer power, so we're always looking for new volunteers to lend a hand with greeting our members, delivering food, stocking our shelves, and helping out with special events. Today you'll hear from some of our volunteers and staff as they show you some of their favorite jobs around the pantry.
Hi, my name is Diane, and my favorite job at the pantry is to greet our people as they come in the door. The first time they come in, we give them a number and they get this little card to carry with them so that we know who they are. I only let about 5 people into the shopping area at a time. That way it doesn't get too crowded. Shoppers check in with me when they come in. They give me their number. I write it down in my computer, and when it's time for them to be called, I will call out their number to the rest of the group that's sitting here and waiting, and they'll go shop. Usually by the time they come back out, I'll just wish them a good day, and I might give them a bus pass if they ask for it. So that's about it. That's my job, and I enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Jemima, and today I will be showing you guys how to restock the shelves for our shoppers. So we do restock our shelves every day, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll close on Monday. So we do have some dry goods and canned goods for restocking. We also do dairy products, milk, cheese, and then also produce, vegetables, and fresh fruit.
We do have hygiene products available, such as diapers, tampons, and toilet papers.
Hi, my name is Loyal, and I'm going to tell you about the home delivery program. Our members here have the option to request a home delivery box once a week where we pack their groceries and take it right to their door. They can submit a grocery list either online or over the phone, and we do our best to make sure we get them what they need, and they can even tell us their dietary restrictions or their preferences like that.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Fenwick, and I'm a delivery driver today. On a typical day, I'll deliver 20 deliveries to families in Coralville, Tiffin, and Oxford. I can drive my own car and pick my own delivery times that work for my schedule. We also have volunteers who stock the community fridge at the Coralville Public Library, where any member of the community could grab food as they please.
Hi, I'm Hai, and this is our commercial kitchen. We use the space to cook food for the community meals and events. We host these events around 4 times a year, and the food is always fantastic. People can come and volunteer for these events to help us prepare and pass out food. We also use this space for cooking classes and cooking food for our summer lunch program. When school is out in the summer, kids and their family can come here, grab lunch, and hang out with us 4 times a week. Our community members also use the space to cook for their own small businesses. The pantry could not run without our volunteer. With so many jobs to do, there's something for everyone. Thanks for visiting us, and we hope to see you here soon.
A great promo there for everything that you guys do there. Now, Sophie, when it comes to your role with the agency, you run a little bit more of the social media side. How has that helped you advance in your career goals? And as we take a look at the QR codes here today for One Day for Iowa, again, all the donations today go towards helping these students that we'll be seeing throughout today reach their goals and continue to do things here at the University of Iowa. But as your role with the agency, how has that helped in your career goals?
Sure. So I love the production side, and so a biggest, I guess, like advantage is that I just have a lot of content that I can show, like on my website, to like on my resume too, just to have like that behind my belt, so I know what I have already done. I can show it to people and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
That's great. And you mentioned that you're a senior. So what's next for you after graduation?
I'm hoping to get a job sometime soon. So, you know, I'm still in the application process right now, but hoping to stay in the Midwest. So, yeah.
Awesome. And do you feel like the Adler Agency has really set you up for success and given you benefits?
100%. It's like literally like working in a real agency. We have all those steps we have to make, and just like communication with like my partners, people that I work with too. It's just like preparing me for success, I think.
Awesome. And what, in your opinion, is the most important thing that you've learned so far during your time at the Adler Agency?
Kind of just like my time management. We're working with real clients. So we have to not only manage like our schedules, but their schedules too, and how they like intertwine, and just like finding time that works for everyone to make it there.
Yeah, and that's definitely an important skill to have. Just learning that in college too. You might as well start learning it now, because that's most likely what it's going to be after graduation as well. I know Adler does such a great job of giving us these hands-on opportunities, and then it's kind of up to you to just kind of take and roll with it, but also learn that you're a student too, and that time balance is really tricky at first, but something that Adler kind of gives us the opportunity to explore and learn more about, and I think we can all kind of speak from that experience as well. But Jeff, you mentioned that I read earlier today that you used to live in New York City. You have all these awards under your belt, and you own Black Lab Media. Is that correct?
Yeah, EGR International and Black Lab Media. Yes,
Yeah.
based in New York. Yep.
So tell us a little bit more about that, and why did you decide to come back to Iowa?
Well, I think a couple different reasons. I mean, I've always been involved with the University of Iowa. I went here. I went to school here, and so I was always kind of involved from afar. But I was really kind of focused a number of years ago when I first started coming back. I was really focused on trying to incorporate practical applications into the classroom, right? So I want people, my desire is that we have people who can walk right into jobs, and not that we weren't doing a good job at that, but that just kind of became my mission. And so I began teaching here, I guess 7 or 8 years ago, kind of on a part-time basis. I'm still part-time. But the idea is to bring this kind of professional practicum into the classroom, where we expose students to what working in an agency or working in any business really is all about. And Sophie's done a great job, and it's really not that complicated, right? It's just having the opportunity to do that, So that's really been the driving force for me, and I incorporate clients into all of my courses, and that's really. And me being able to do that is really a credit to Melissa Tully and to this school, right? Because that's a big leap to, it's kind of quasi-academic, really, to a certain extent. We're bringing these clients in and exposing students to what it's like day-to-day working in an agency. And I think so far it's been really successful. But I think, kind of bringing that back to One Day for Iowa, we're all hit with a barrage of, give money here and give money there, right? Constantly, everybody wants donations. But I think in this case, these funds go directly into helping students achieve, right? So when they graduate, they're better prepared to enter the job market. I mean, this university, and in particular the school, has always done an excellent job with placement. But I think this just gives us, like the Adler Agency, the DI, all these things we're doing, it just gives our students another opportunity to be prepared. So I'm really excited about that. So that's kind of a long version of what brought me back.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you seen that since you went to Iowa? Have you seen a lot of changes within the communications department here?
Yes, it's a sea change. It's a sea change. Because I think right now in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication, we have an extraordinary faculty, top to bottom. They're just outstanding people, and they're outstanding academicians, and they really care about outcomes. Not that the faculty, when I wasn't here, wasn't doing that. But I can say firsthand right now, this faculty is extraordinary. And I think students get all kinds of really interesting input from these folks. And my sense is they're doing a really super job. All of us collectively are really preparing students for kind of this new millennium of ideas. It's difficult out there, right? And we talk a lot about content marketing, we talk a lot about social media marketing, how all these things come together, and then we add the traditional journalism stuff to that, and I think it's a really nice recipe we've got at the moment. And so I think I would encourage people to give for this one day at Iowa, because I think it really will go directly to making a difference in students' lives and preparing them for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that Mia and Sophie and AJ can probably all speak for experience that these things that Iowa is offering us, not every university has these opportunities. And that's why it is so important that we donate and we give back, because I don't even know what I would do without the Daily Iowan, and AJ's a part of Big Ten Plus and all these really amazing opportunities, and it's because of the donations and the funding that we get to have that. And so, yeah, I completely agree with you, and I think that, it's important that we give back, especially to folks that are from Iowa, and just seeing the university grow as a whole.
Absolutely. And I wanted to ask, again, Jeff, tying it back to the Adler Agency here, it seems like there's so many good things that students can learn from it. How do students get involved and get in there and get in the door to start working with the agency?
Yeah, so there's an application process. So very soon, in the next few weeks, we'll have our applications out for the fall. And so we publish those through the social media in the school, and we want as many students as possible to apply for this because our roster changes every year. We try and keep the same students in the agency for 2 semesters, so that when we work with larger, more long-term clients, there's kind of a consistency. So the same people are working on their project for 2 semesters. But we're always looking for fresh faces. We're always looking for new ideas. So I would encourage everybody who's listening to this to fill out an application and submit it. And I think it's worked well, right, for you. It's been last semester, the fall semester was just our first semester. So we had to learn a little bit about how this is going to work. And we had to kind of orient ourselves, and we had to make some pivots. But I think we're headed in a really good direction. And we're not early in on the agency thing. So a lot of Big Ten schools already have agencies. So we're kind of maybe in the middle of the pack. But I think we have better ideas and a better game plan for our agency. And so I think students are going to have, what I think is exciting is students are going to have the opportunity to continue to work on nonprofits, like Sophie's been doing. But I think they're going to have an opportunity also to work on really large, kind of complex paid clients with some household names that we might know, right? Some big clients. And I think that's invaluable. And especially when you put it on your resume. I mean, this is going to be the first thing on her resume, is that she worked for the Adler Agency, a named agency. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and Sophie, why did you choose nonprofit? Like, what drew you into working in that field opposed to paying clients?
Sure. So I guess last semester it was more, and I guess this semester too, it was more so what I wanted to do out of the agency was more content creation, and just the nonprofit side had just their needs were more so like needing videos and stuff like that. And versus like this semester, they're producing a live event, and so not as much like production would be needed. So that was more so why I just chose to do the nonprofit route. And then through that, just like giving back to my community is always just so important to me. It's really rewarding at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what is your day-to-day like being able to work with these nonprofits? What does your day-to-day process look like with the agency?
Sure. So just yesterday, actually, I was at the food pantry. I'm doing some last-minute stuff for them still from last semester, but just like seeing familiar faces, just always being in contact with people, asking them when we can come out and film, when we can get an interview from them, just to get the content that we need, and just stay in touch with people and know that like we're there to help them too.
What are some of the projects that you're working on right now and some of the nonprofits you're working with?
Sure. So we're working with Houses into Homes this semester. We have a couple of videos. So we have a volunteer intro video, an anthem video, and then just a couple short social media videos that they can hopefully post on like Instagram Reels to boost like their volunteer people. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff, I'll ask you a similar question.
Yeah.
You're working with a lot of students. You're working with trying to help them build themselves up through this agency. What does your day-to-day look like with this agency and your goals with it?
Yeah, so I think that our students are we have really good students. You know, we have students who are interested and involved, and they're not just passing the time, right? And so my job really is less kind of instruction, you know, and it's more kind of guiding them through this process, you know, and then helping them to understand how client interactions work. So I think that probably is the thing that's been the most eye-opening for the students, is that they're just not familiar with, with working with a client, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit, right? You still have to be able to establish those interpersonal relationships, and you still have to convince them that what you're presenting is going to work, right? So I think that's probably one of the things that's been, that I spend most of my time on, is analyzing. Last semester we had a really interesting for-profit client that was a fast-paced, pretty demanding client, and the students were not used to that. They just honestly weren't used to working in that kind of an environment. So my job in that case was really to try and help them translate what's going on in the client's mind, what the client's looking for, right? And to take maybe some of the fear out of that, right? That it's okay, because, and Sophie can attest, we had a lot of clients last semester say no to our suggestions and some of our ideas and want to change and revise it, right? So the thing is, you can't take it personally because it's your work. So the students, their position, I think, was like, I can't believe they didn't like that. But they're the client, it's their prerogative. So I spend a lot of time, trying to translate what's going on in the client's mind.
What would you say has been your biggest success or one of your biggest moments with this agency so far?
I think without a doubt, it's been the client accolades, right? So we've only been at this, this is only our second semester. So we've only worked with 4 clients, but I think, and you pitch in here, but I think the clients are so appreciative of the work, and I think they're really surprised by the quality of the work and the level of sophistication of the students, and that's really the payoff. For me and for our students, is that they get these clients saying, you guys did a great job. You did an excellent job. And then to see what we put into place pay results. So, for example, Sophie just mentioned, she's working, continues to work with the food pantry, even though they're not a client any longer, right? So our students stay involved with these clients, and I think that's really paid really significant dividends.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure.
That's incredible. Building the connections and the relationships, I feel like, is a really important part, and that's great that you guys get the opportunity to do that. I know you said that this is a new agency, but what are you hoping to see in the future, and how do you guys want to grow?
Do you want to take that, or do you want me to?
I think you should start.
Okay. So we've there are some Big Ten universities that have agencies that we like the structure of those, and one of them has 55 student employees. And honestly, that in the Iowa market, that would be like a mid-size, maybe even a large agency, right? So we're really looking to emulate that. We want to grow this. We want to have we want to have agencies participate in the life of our agency. So external agencies, we want to collaborate with them, and we're of course looking for new, large, interactive, exciting clients. But I think having that kind of infrastructure would be really great. So right now we have, roughly 20 students in the agency. But I think if we look at over the next 3 or 4 years, if we could get that to, who knows, 30, 40, 50 students, that would be extremely exciting. Yeah. Really, really exciting.
Yeah, and Sophie, what was the application process like, and how can people apply now to be a part of the agency?
Sure. So I think it got sent out in the spring of last year, and it was just asking what your qualifications were, like what classes you've taken through like SJMC, and then I think it's also just like why you wanted to be in it, what you would bring to the table if you got selected to be in it. And then there's also like an application for like the leadership process. So I'm sure Jeff could talk about that a little bit, but it was just, I just applied because I was like, well, something I might be interested in, and then I ended up being qualified and got in. So it was a nice surprise.
Yeah. And you serve as the creative director, correct?
No, I'm actually just a staff member. That's one of our other wonderful teammates, Isabella. But we all talk together and end up doing social media stuff together. So it's kind of like a very collaborative process.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's great.
In a day like today, it's One Day for Iowa.
Yeah.
Everyone is encouraged to give. What do these donations do for the agency?
Well, they do. I mean, it's our lifeline, really. Well, our lifeline is the school, but the school gets money from initiatives like One Day for Iowa, right? And the thing about the One Day for Iowa is that money goes directly into our school. It doesn't go into an endowment, so we can spend the money. And so it allows our students to go out to visit the clients. It allows us to purchase some technology so that we can up our game a little bit in terms of servicing our clients. I mean, you've been to your client how many times?
Too many to count.
Right, a lot.
And it's in Coralville, so it's not that far of a drive, but a little bit.
Yeah, so it gives students the the opportunity to use the university van pool, whatever the case may be. That money that we get goes directly to the students and gives them whatever the ideas, tools, and resources they need to be successful. Really is what it does. So it's really, really important.
Absolutely. And we continue to encourage you to give throughout the entire day. There's QR codes here in the studio. If you go to the website as well, please scan the QR codes. Give One Day for Iowa. It helps us out, like Jeff just said, with all the students, with the agency, and across the journalism school as well, along with the Daily Iowan, who we had up here about half an hour ago as well. So we encourage you to continue to give on this One Day for Iowa. But a couple of final questions for both of you guys. You said that the big goal for over the next 5 years is to continue to grow and compete with other Big Ten agencies. Say, in a theoretical sense, that you are able to get to 40, 50 students involved. What do you hope to give those students more as you continue to build up a bigger agency?
Well, I think if you got to that point, and even at the point we are right now, really, I think that students can graduate and they can sit in front of an agency principal like myself, and they can tell a story about their education that is different from a lot of other people, right? They weren't just a student. They were a student who participated in a highly institutionalized agency at this university, and they're ready to go, right? It's the same thing with the DI and DITV. Right? It's the first thing on your resume. When you're meeting with somebody and you're looking at a reporting or writing or capital J journalism job, you can show them work that you've done here. It's a big deal. And how significant the DI and the DITV is. I mean, these are award-winning franchises, right? So when you go to work when you apply for a job at a media outlet, you've got a leg up. Well, we want to do the same thing on the agency side, right? We want to put these students in a position so that when they're applying for a job, whoever's looking at that resume is going, wow, they've already worked for an agency while they were in college. I don't have to spend all that time training them. They already know what it's like to work in an agency. And that's invaluable, I'm telling you. For both parties, it's invaluable for the student. It's also invaluable for the agency.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Sophie, do you feel like you already kind of going off of that, have a leg up and know you're ready to go right into the workforce and have knowledge that other students might not have if they weren't a part of something like the Adler Agency?
Yeah, I definitely think it's made me more prepared for just like what to expect, and also just to have the notion of like what an agency actually is and what it is to work for them, just like with my experience at the Adler Agency.
Yeah, that's great. And I wish you guys the best of luck with your Adler Agency. I can see this taking off, and I know I'm intrigued by it, and I'm really hoping that more students apply to get to the Big Ten level that other schools are at as well. So best of luck, and thank you so much for coming on. And don't forget to donate One Day for Iowa. Scan the QR codes. This money goes towards organizations like the Adler Agency so that students can get hands-on experience.
Hi, my name is Lucy Rodine, and I'm a proud graduate of the class of 2020 School of Journalism and Mass Communication. I currently live in New York City and work for the Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz. In this role, I'm an on-air talent where I get to be on camera and talk about sports, and also travel the country telling different stories about sports that I love, including sometimes Iowa Hawkeye sports, which is always very special. I'm super grateful for this job, and I know I wouldn't have it without my education at the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. I was an out-of-state student at Iowa, and the only reason I was able to attend the University of Iowa was thanks to generous donors who gave money to the school scholarship fund, which was able to fund my education and give me all the tools I needed to make this career a reality. So if you have the chance, I encourage you to donate, and hopefully you can help another student like me, and then they'll talk about Iowa on a national stage, and that's how we take over. That's how we run this whole thing.
Hi Hawkeyes! We're checking in the newsroom. Let's keep those donations going. So you can donate at onedayforiowa.org/SJMC25 or onedayforiowa.org/DI25. Giving to both is terrific. Even just $5 can help tremendously towards scholarships and different programs, as we've already seen, such as the Adler Agency. So definitely keep rising. Our goal is 7,500. We keep filling up this thermometer chart, keep checking back in, see it rise and grow, and just how we can support our students. We've heard testimonies today on how that will be. So we're going to keep it rolling with more programming and see how just these scholarships impact current students, past students with all of our alumni.
How many more things are you interviewing today?
Well,
I could go till 1.
And welcome back to the Adler Journalism Studio. We have a couple of more special guests who are here from the Association for Women in Sport Media. We've got Rachel, who's a president of the organization, and Jennifer Sterling, who is the teacher sponsor. So welcome to the studio, you guys, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Yes.
Just off of the top here, why don't you give us a little bit of an insight of what your association is?
Yes, so the Association for Women in Sports Media, also known as AWESOME, is an organization. It was kind of started up during COVID, and then COVID shut it down. And so we've been working to bring it back kind of starting in July of last year. And so it's pretty new to us, but it's a place where any and all are welcome, and it just creates opportunities for people interested in sports opportunities, or it doesn't have to, you don't have to be in the major, anyone's welcome. But our goal is to come together, meet with individuals in the sporting industry, work on resume building, all sorts of opportunities just in the field in general.
That's great. And kind of giving a little bit more of a recap, Professor Sterling, you might be able to give more of an insight into this, but what exactly is the sport media and culture major, and what do you guys cover in those classes?
Yep, great question. Sport media and culture major is fairly new. It started a couple of years ago, but that was just its most recent iteration. It's been around since the early 1900s in various capacities. But we are now in the journalism school, and the sport media and culture major is kind of exactly what it sounds like. So there's 2 tracks of courses. One track is along culture and sort of understanding its importance in American society and abroad. But also, and then on the media side, sort of just understanding what the media industry is, what its relationship is with sport. So we have a lot of students that are in our major that are hoping to work in the sports media industries. But it gives them a really nice, robust understanding of the history, of the cultural context and significance, and just sort of the sort of how all the disparate ways that media is involved in sport and its importance.
That's great. And I know Iowa is really, really big on their sports and their sports culture. Do you think that being a Big Ten school helps with this major and the opportunities that students are given and that professors can organize for the students?
I think personally, from my personal experience, yes. One big thing that always gets brought into it is Caitlin Clark, and that brought many opportunities for people in the journalism department, but also the sport media and culture major as well. Just being at a Big Ten university, as we all know, you can work for the athletic department. There's the DITV program that we're on right now. Just the major and this school in general, going to Big Ten, lots of opportunities, lots of different sports to work for.
Absolutely. And Rachel, I know you work with the athletics department in their social media. What do you specifically do for them, and how has that helped you in your career here at Iowa?
Yeah, of course. So my junior year, I landed an opportunity to have an internship with the social media department in the athletics. So Brandy Britt, I'm sure you've heard of her, is my boss. And I started about January 2024, so it's been a little over a year. But what we do is every sport is covered, social media obviously. The bigger sports like football, women's basketball, men's basketball takes a lot more help because obviously it's huge. But then all the other Olympic sports like field hockey, swimming and diving, what we do is try to make all home events if possible. We obviously, that's hard, but we like to report live Instagram stories, posts. So yeah, I was assigned, for example, field hockey this fall. I ran that account fully, which was a lot of fun. But then just being able to help on game days for football, like posting on the stories, capturing live video. And it's taught me a lot, especially then taking classes here at the journalism department and sport media culture major aligns with a lot of what I've learned there. So I've learned a lot through the internship, but also it aligns with the content I've learned in classes like social media marketing. So I've learned a lot.
That's awesome. And just from your guys' own opinion, or Professor Sterling, maybe you can speak a little bit about this. Why is it so important that we encourage women to get involved in the sport media and culture major?
I think, the major is sort of equal parts enrollment if we look at sort of a gender breakdown. But women's sports is booming right now. I'm sorry it took this long, but we're here, and it's definitely a moment to grab hold of and make sure our students are getting access to those opportunities. And it's like the players and the leagues, but it's also, we're seeing more and more women in the industry, and it's why, so the association Awesome. We'll just call it Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So Awesome has been around since the mid-1980s, and it was at a time where women were really, really fighting to break ground and to access the industry. And so the national organization, which has these student chapters, which we're one of, the reason that they created it was so that they had networking and mentorship opportunities, and that's really the sort of core of this as well right now. Yep.
Today is One Day for Iowa. Again, we have QR codes everywhere on the website, here at the studio. Scan the QR codes, go to oneday.uiowa.edu to donate. Again, all the money goes to the School of Journalism, the Daily Iowan as well, to help students work at the DI, but also get involved with Awesome and be able to go on awesome trips, like the one that you guys just got back from at the University of California, Berkeley. What was that like for you guys, and what did you guys do out in California?
Yes, so that was part of the sport media and culture capstone that I'm in with Jen's class. So a little different from Awesome, but through that capstone, we've been kind of not working with, but the Aspen Institute. They go around and do state of play projects, which is they'll go around the U.S. and you survey what the youth sports realm looks like in each state. So in our capstone, we've kind of been looking at what it would look like to do a state of play report in the state of Iowa. And so we had the opportunity to go to University of Cal Berkeley the past 2 days. It's a quick trip, but a lot of fun. And it was their yearly summit that they do. And so it was around like 600 individuals in the sporting, they all work in the sporting industry. But we learned a lot. They're really, really trying to get youth athletes out in sports, and then as well as staying out in sports and just creating the opportunities for them. But also another thing they talked about in relationship with Awesome is getting women and girls out in sports, and then the struggle is keeping them out for sports. So there was just a lot we learned. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, and I think the media integration part of it is interesting. It was founded by media journalists that sort of saw a need, and ESPN was a sponsor this year, and they announced a big initiative that they're taking on over the next few years to get involved, and recognizing that youth playing sports is their future consumer base. So it was a really interesting opportunity to just see what was going on and continue our partnership with them. The idea of the capstone is that we will do multi-year partnerships with these community partners and get some hands-on experience. And this we had some funding from an experiential learning grant to do this, but journalism also supports a lot of experiential opportunities, actually requires our students to have experiential opportunities. And a lot of that is funded by journalism, so students can go on trips like this. The Chicago experience in the winter is another one.
It's a very fun one.
Yeah.
Very fun. And all these trips, again, like you said, they're helping, the School of Journalism helps fund them, and a day like One Day for Iowa, it's incredibly important for people to give so that all of us as students can continue to go on these trips. But going back to the trip out to Berkeley, was this the first year that you guys were able to go on that trip?
Yeah, absolutely. This is, when we created the major, we created the capstone as well. We wanted to have sort of a comprehensive final experience that, took the learning and the classroom experience out to the field. And this is the first year that we've taught it. So we're starting with a smaller cohort as we kind of switch our majors over, and but in the future we'll probably have 15 to 20 students that will continue to work with community partners, and those community partners will rotate as we see needs emerge and change. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Rachel, what's one of your favorite things that experiences that either Awesome or the Adler Sports Journalism Program has offered you to either go on or get to be a part of?
Yeah, for sure. The first thing that comes to mind is all the individuals that the journalism department and sport media and culture major bring in. So like I remember this year, I don't know, but like Maddie McCarran came here, and we got to sit down and speak with her. Lucy Rodine, we got to listen to her speak. Just all the individuals that they bring in is so cool that we get to hear from them and how they got to their path. So without that, it's hard to see like what the future could look like or what that path would look like. So being able to bring those individuals in and we get to listen to them has been something that's been very helpful and influential in my time here.
That's amazing. Yeah. And did you have anything else to add about the experiences?
The alumni network is so strong here. I know they support funding, but they also support just mentorship opportunities. And again, it's something that we can really lean on in the Awesome Student Org. And Roxana Scott's going to be here in a number of capacities in a couple of weeks, and so our group will meet with her then. She's the head of sports for USA Today, an alum of our program. And then we also, it's an opportunity for us to sort of grow network, even everything from sort of, making sure that we're linked in with them or having them Zoom in or having them on campus. It's been a really amazing opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's kind of just, we've been talking about this overall, the theme of just going to a Big Ten, but also I think Iowa is really, really special with the connections and, people coming back and wanting to help out. And I think that that's just what makes this school in particular really, really incredible with the opportunities that it allows. But Rachel, I know you said you're a senior, so what's next for you? What are you hoping to do after graduation?
Yeah, plans are to be determined, but I would like to continue working either in the social media department, athletics somehow, or a game day host would be a lot of cool for a college athletics department. But yeah, currently in the job seeking realm, as I'm sure a lot of seniors are right now. But it's been going good. Yeah, TBD.
Now, Jen, I know that you said the sport media and culture major has been around for a while,
Yeah.
but for Iowa, it's made its resurgence. It came back last couple of years. As a professor and an advisor, what is your big goal with this major and also the Awesome group?
I think for the major, I think it's really important, especially for students heading out into a sports journalism field. It's great to have the skills. I mean, you have to have you have to know the social media marketing, right? You have to have the sort of nuts and bolts. But so much sports reporting anymore is, it's not just reporting the facts. It's not just descriptive, right? It's interpretive. It's really, being in touch with what's going on, putting things in context. I think the rise of Caitlin Clark is a really good example. So instead of just reporting on the amazing statistics and records she was breaking. There was a lot of conversations around the history of women in sport and the association that started hosting women's intercollegiate sports before the NCAA did. And so all this history sort of came out in that process. And so our students can sort of graduate and speak to those things instead of, and have that context and have that information. So just making sure that we have a really well-rounded, comprehensive education to support students who are wanting to work in the sports media industry. And also just sort of cultural opportunities, a lot of sporting nonprofits. We've been working with the Museum Studies Certificate to kind of think about how students might find jobs in sports Hall of Fames, which there are plenty in the US. Kind of thinking about how we can educate, but also help professionalize and work on those skills as well. Yeah, and for Awesome, what do we think? What are our goals?
I would say to bring people together. I know this major can be difficult sometimes, especially since it's hard to get a job in the sports realm. Mm-hmm. So being able to just bring individuals together to share their experiences, like, oh, how were you able to get this internship? What did you do? Or what does your LinkedIn look like? Or just being able to work together to be able to succeed and not feel, I don't want to say alone, but like just feel like you're heard and understood.
Absolutely. Yeah. What's been, I know, Jen, diving into your story a little bit more, back when you were a student, was this something that you wanted to get into, was the sports and media?
It's, I think if you asked any of the faculty in our program, we've had some winding paths, which have, again, brought us all in with really varying perspectives. One of my winding paths was through athletic training. And so sort of being on the other side of the sports industry, and also sort of, working with curators, sport curators in museums. And then we have faculty like Wayne Drays, who is coming straight from the sports media industry, Travis Vogan, who is doing a lot of research on sports media, as well as Tom Oates. So we have a lot of great different perspectives that we bring. Emma Callow is one of our newest faculty who works on sort of social media and advocacy, and lots of different varieties. But no, I think that's one thing that we've always, when we talk with people, either in classes when we have visitors or in Awesome, when we talk with people, we always ask them sort of, how did you get here? And it's always a fun story. And I think it helps to have that community to know that it's not always sort of this straight path. But I think the program and Awesome are trying to help straighten that path a little bit. So we don't have to wind so much to get to where you want to go. And you can find where you want to go a little sooner.
Absolutely. And again, today is One Day for Iowa, so all these donations help get these students finding their path and down this road that helps them into these situations and these classes. Scan the QR codes, go to oneday.uiowa.edu. Again, all the donations go to the School of Journalism, Mass Communications, and the Daily Iowan to help students down this road of delivering you the news and getting more students involved in media as well. Scan the QR codes or go to the website there, oneday.uiowa.edu. Now, Rachel, back to you.
Yeah.
You're in the social media world for sports. I'm going to ask you the same question as Jen. Is that something that you always thought that you were going to get into, or how did you find yourself down this road that you're on now?
Yeah, of course. I did not expect this at all. I just came into this major open-minded. I was open to really any role, opportunity I would take. Like I said earlier, one of the things the journalism department does really well is bring people into the department. So Brandy Britt had just came in, spoke to the classes, and then held office hours in the student center. And I went up and was just like, hey, I would love to hear about how you got your job. What did that look like? And she was a University of Iowa alum, same kind of deal. And then there just ended up being internships open at the time, so I applied, and then it just happened. But I would for sure say I kept an open mind because I thought about doing TV, I thought about doing reporting, like I had no idea. And then just went around and talked to all the opportunities that came around, and then I guess that's just how it works. Yeah.
And I know like there's a ton of students here that always say that they want to get involved in sports, they want to get involved in social media. What is some advice that you would give to those students that are maybe freshmen or even juniors or seniors that are still looking for their way to put down that door?
Yeah. Join Awesome. We have a lot of people that work like in the sports industry, so we're always open to helping or have connections to be like, hey, reach out to this person, there might be an opportunity there. But I would say do any role that comes your way, even if it's not in sports right away. Like start out, if it's a social media internship not in sports, take it, because the experience isn't going to hurt you, and that's what my boss says all the time. But also, what was the question again?
Yeah, just advice that you'd give to students to kick down the door.
Yes. Networking, they say it all the time, but just talk to everyone around you. They have connections, and reach out to people. It never hurts to say like, hey, I'm looking for an internship. Do you have any, or do you know of anyone I could reach out to? Or LinkedIn, create a LinkedIn profile.
Normally step number
yes.
one here.
I didn't make one until my senior year, so don't do that. But the Pomerantz Center, we went there as part of our capstone class, and they were very helpful.
Yeah.
So we're reaching out to them and figuring out how to make a LinkedIn, how to make a resume, how to make a cover letter. Yeah, honestly, just use your connections around you. They'll be very helpful.
And how can people get involved with Awesome or join the organization?
Yeah, of course. It's open to any and all. It is the Association for Women in Sports Media, so that means you don't have to be a woman. Anyone's welcome to join. And you can reach out to me at email, rachel-berman@ui.edu, but also Jen, we're in the journalism department all the time. Jake has the information, and there's flyers around, I believe, to scan the QR code. But
And we're a student, we're a supported student organization, which means that the journalism, we're a student organization within the journalism school, but we are a registered student org here. So you can find us on our Engage page at the University of Iowa as well.
Great. And just to cap off, Rachel, if you could, or actually both of you, if you could give just a quick elevator pitch of why everyone should join Awesome and why it is so awesome, just for students that are trying to get involved in sport media.
Okay, elevator pitch.
We've been working on this.
You should join the Association for Women in Sports Media because we have a lot of amazing people involved in it. And we meet about once a month, but the opportunities that come without the organization are amazing. For example, we try to make as many sports events as we can. The networking thing that we have coming up, it just creates many opportunities. And then as well as you get to talk with the people around you that could help you move forward in your career eventually.
Yeah, and I think some of the pillars that have emerged this year are that idea of community. So find your community, right? And then thinking about professional development is another pillar. But then engagement and outreach has been another one too. And so I think right now what we have planned for the May 4th Fever Brazil game is a watch party, because we know that we knew that tickets were going to be hard to come by, and indeed they were. So we want to make that possible. But the organization decided to do that as a event for families and kids, and do community outreach through that opportunity. So I think if we think about those three pillars, right, like sort of community, the professional development, and the engagement and outreach.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for being here and talking a little bit about the sport media and culture major and Awesome, which sounds super awesome. So don't forget to scan the QR codes. Organizations like Women for Sport Media rely on your donations, so please don't forget to scan, and we'll send it back to Christine, who's in the newsroom, for our thermometer check-in.
First hour, we have received $2,000 in donations. Thank you. This helps students like myself, others in the newsroom, and everybody in this building. We really would love to see that Hawkeye community and continue that experiential learning. Share photos from your experiences when you were students, if you're an alum, what you're doing now. The photo mosaic to have SJMC students in that photo mosaic would be terrific. And share those stories. Use the hashtag #OneDayForIowa, tag SJMC, and share those stories. We make media that matters, so continue doing it and share it with us today. You can continue to scan QR codes, donate, we encourage it, but we're gonna send it back in there for the next segment. Thanks, Hawks.
It was an idea that both Melissa Tully and I kind of came up with. Let's find a way to get the students out of the classroom and even out of the state of Iowa and into a major sports media market where they can see firsthand the skills that we're teaching them in the classroom. How are they being used by teams, by sports organizations, by media organizations in this sort of media environment we have today? So that was the idea, was to get them out of the classroom in real world, in-person experience. And this is going to sound really hyperbolic, but I think every student that's taken the class has found it to be life-changing, like transformative in a way. There were a couple students who took the class and were like, yeah, I don't know if this is what I really want to get into. There's several students that are getting ready to graduate in May here that have interviews lined up and opportunities that I don't think would have come without the experiences that they had. I think what is special about this is they see firsthand what it takes. You know, when you stand and talk to Adam Amin, who's one of the best play-by-play guys in America, and you hear Adam's story from starting in Storm Lake all the way to doing the Bulls and the NFL on Fox, and you hear how he had to grind, you know what it takes. And I think that's something that is so hard to teach in a classroom, and we can harp on it as much as we want, but when it's somebody standing in the middle of the United Center telling you that story, or it's Cole Wright at the Marquee Network sitting in their studio explaining to you what his path was and the 18, 19-hour days he had to put in, you realize it can be done, and everyone's had to pay their price. You just have to grind. Donations are incredibly important because the university pays for the hotel for the week. They pay for the travel for the students to get to Iowa City. They cover the van that we use, and some of the meals. And look, these are students who might not be able to go on a trip like this or have this kind of an opportunity if they had to pay for hotel a week in Chicago by themselves. It allows anyone from any walk of life to have this opportunity that that I believe, like I said, is really transformative in the sports media careers of some of the brightest young talent we have here at Iowa.
Welcome back to our One Day for Iowa live stream here in the DITV studios on the campus of the University of Iowa. Now I'm joined by the Chicago Sports Media Experience class, 3 of them at least. We have, remind me of your name again?
Katrina.
Katrina, Jacob, and Tiana here with us now live at DITV. Now the Chicago Sports Media Experience, I went on it the first year. It was unbelievable, but I'm interested to see what you guys thought about it. We'll start with Katrina on the far end. What was your experience like with Wayne's Rage and the Chicago Sports Media Experience?
It was really cool. So I haven't done anything sports related before this. So it was just like seeing a whole new world of media. I feel like I learned a lot like related to sports and just media jobs in general.
Absolutely. And then, so you said you haven't done anything within the sports and media realm yet. Is it something that you want to jump into now that you've taken the class?
Yeah, it definitely opened my eyes. Like I didn't really think of it as an option per se. I know it's like a major here and everything, but I didn't really think it's something that I could get into like this late because I'm a junior. And it was really, it was exciting, and I feel like I learned a lot.
Absolutely. Well, let's go to Jacob. your experience with the Chicago sports media experience, what was that like?
It was an amazing experience. As somebody who's a bit of a non-traditional student and somebody who worries about maybe being a little late to the game, like unlike all of y'all, it was a great eye-opening experience, and Wayne is an amazing professor. I was picking his brain like crazy because I am very interested into sports, and the whole experience top to bottom is something I'm glad that the university offers, and I made a few new friends out of it. It's just good connections, great experience all around.
And you just got back from Philadelphia covering the wrestling national tournament.
I did, and I took a lot of what Wayne taught us in that class, whether it was networking, being able to do interviews, working deadlines. I took that all with me to Philly and made a really good impression on a lot of people in Philadelphia.
Absolutely. I saw all of the coverage. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And Tiana, your experience with the Chicago sports media experience, what was that like?
Yeah, it was great. I had a class with Dre's the semester before, and he mentioned it, and I was like, I have to go on it. But I was nervous because, you know, you're with like 10 random students in Chicago for a week. But like Jacob said, we're all really good friends now, and just I learned so much about so many different sectors within sports and like different media angles you can take that I feel like really opened up my eyes to know where I want to go in the future.
Absolutely. And is this something that you came to Iowa knowing you wanted to do, or is it something that kind of developed as your time went along here at Iowa?
Well, I always loved sports, obviously. I didn't come in exactly as a sport and culture media major, but I picked it up and I really liked the classes. But I think going through this experience, it really ensured myself that this is where I want to be.
Awesome. And we'll go down the line for this next question, but give me your favorite moment or your favorite experience with the Chicago trip.
I personally love visiting the Big Ten Network. I mean, it was just you hear Big Ten Network and it's like, okay, we're going in. I actually knew some other people from my high school that are working there now. Really? So it was cool to see them, someone where you knew before and they're in that position now, and just being in that high of a high-end facility like that and well known. It was great.
It's a very beautiful studio.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy all the stuff they can do in that building.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, what was your favorite part?
I would have to say my favorite part was when we went to visit CHGO, Marquee Sports Network, because as somebody who is very interested in being in front of the camera, it was amazing to see what goes on behind the scenes with how they were talking with their producers and their camera directors behind the scenes. It was very intriguing to watch that aspect of things.
Absolutely. What were some of your takeaways from that experience with Marquee? As like you said, you want to be someone that's in front of the camera. What were some of the big things that you learned at Marquee?
That there's a lot of moving parts. Communication is key, and I feel like that's a strong sentiment anywhere. Being able to work and move around, because the hosts were talking about videos, and during breaks they were talking about okay, let's lead into this, let's lead into that, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. Just the dynamic of watching those two hosts together, as long with their producers and camera directors, was just beautiful.
It's a lot of moving parts, what we've got going on today. We have our incredible camera crew behind the camera, and of course our producers and directors in the tech room punching all the cameras as well. So you can get that experience right here on the campus as well. But Katrina, what was what was your favorite moment on the Chicago trip?
I don't want to copy you, but I think also the Marquee Network. I don't want to be on air. I don't think I would do well in that.
You're doing a great job right now.
Thank you so much. But it was really cool seeing also behind the scenes, all the different options that there are that I didn't even know about. And everyone was just hanging out in the room, and they were just having so much fun, and it was really cool to experience that. And I went to high school a mile away from the Marquee Network, so it was this is so throwback, and I didn't realize all of this was right there in this area that I know so well. So that was cool.
Absolutely. And now, kind of taking that 1,000-foot step back, the School of Journalism has really been putting an emphasis on sports the last few years, bringing in Wayne, who leads that Chicago sports and media experience. How would you describe your experience within Adler and the School of Journalism, and being able to fuel and get you ready for the next steps after college?
I think I'm so grateful that I chose to go to Iowa and be a part of Adler and the journalism school, because I talk to other people in other schools, and they don't have like the student center that we have, like the resources that we have. I think they put such an emphasis on just lifting all the students up and doing like stuff like this, like the Chicago media experience. Like I think I wouldn't have had like, this hands-on experience at other schools. So I'm super grateful that I chose Iowa.
And Jacob, you said that you're a non-traditional student. You spent time in the military. What led you to come to Iowa, and how has your experience been?
Well, for me, Iowa was always the end goal for me. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to come here, go to school, get my degree that says, I'm a Hawkeye. And initially, life throws you curveballs. Initially, I was rejected by the university, but that happens. I spent a couple semesters at Kirkwood, and then I applied for the fall of last year and got accepted. So being able to go to my dream school is huge, and being able to be a part of a great school of journalism is even better. I've taken everything that all my professors has taught me, everything I've met with like you and sports director for the KRUI, Aiden Wirtz. We started a podcast, I'm growing my brand, and everything seems to be going swimmingly here at Iowa.
Heck yeah, it's exactly what we like to hear. And Tiana, how about you? What's your experience been like in diving into this sports journalism world here at Iowa?
It's been amazing. So many classes have that like hands-on experience. Like I think I have 3 classes a semester where we actually have a client we're working with. It's not just lecture, reading off of it, doing homework assignments. Like you're getting involved. Like it's almost things you can put on your resume, because it is like such a valuable experience that you can take once you graduate outside of college and use it. So, I mean, it's just been great for me.
And a lot of these experiences are helped by days like today. It's one day for Iowa. Scan the QR codes. They're everywhere here. They're on your screen now, or go to oneday.uiowa.edu. Scan the QR codes. All the donations go to the School of Journalism, Mass Communications, and the Daily Iowan to help students like us up here on stage now to continue to have these experiences and get ready for life after college. So again, scan the QR codes. Go to oneday.uiowa.edu. Donate. It's one day for Iowa. Try to help us reach our goal. But back to the Chicago sports media experience. You guys are traveling around Chicago for days, and I know one of my favorite parts was going to that Chicago Bulls game, being able to be up in press row, meet with a lot of people within the Bulls organization. What was that like for you guys, being able to go to a Bulls game and see the inside of what an arena like that goes into putting on a show like the Bulls? We can start with you, yeah.
I'm from Chicago, but I've never been to a Bulls game. So it was like awesome to see. Obviously, I've been inside the arena for other things, but I also never thought I'd want to be like a traditional journalist. And so I've never been in a media press box, but it was like awesome up there. I mean, like getting that view and like seeing everything going around, taking place, it was just a really cool experience.
How about for you, Jacob?
Well, I'm not that big of a basketball guy personally, but the experience itself was absolutely amazing. The media press box was beautiful. They had credentials all lined up ready for all of us when we got there. And one of the aspects I really liked about the class itself was Wayne made sure we had to write a paper that night and gave us a deadline. So really imitating what a real life job would be like outside of school. But I can't take anything away from the United Center and being able to see those 6 championship banners for the Bulls. Mm-hmm. Absolutely amazing experience.
Absolutely.
It was a really cool experience going up in the media box. I felt very official with our credentials and everything, and we got to use a special elevator to go up and down. Like, they had to look at our credentials, which was so cool. And being in the box, it was like you guys were saying, like super awesome. Definitely hopefully not once in a lifetime experience, but first in a lifetime experience. Yeah, it was very, I can't think of the right word, but like motivational. Like, this is like super awesome that we get to do this. Like being down in the tunnels and stuff and like getting to see things. Like, I had also been there before, but never like this kind of experience.
Yeah, it's a surreal experience when you walk in those doors and you're able to throw on that press pass. But I'll ask you all the same question again. We'll start with Katrina this time. When you went on this experience and you said that you didn't really know coming in if you wanted to do this sports media, necessarily be in the media for sports. After this experience, what are now your goals for the next year and a half, and what do you hope to accomplish once you do graduate?
So I just got an internship for the summer at a PR agency in Chicago.
Congratulations.
It's not sports related, but I feel like I learned a lot. Well, I think I got the internship a lot through networking and using the skills that I learned in this class through networking, because I wouldn't have like reached out through email without learning about it in this class and stuff like that. So I would hope to learn a lot about PR through that class, or not that class, that internship. I don't know exactly what I want to do like post-grad, but definitely experiences like this and hopefully my internship over the summer will help me kind of determine my path. And this has definitely helped me, this class has definitely helped me kind of narrow down like which sort of media field I would like to go into.
Absolutely. What about yourself, Jacob?
If anything, it's reassured me of what I wanted to do with my life. I'm very passionate about sports, very passionate about media, and this whole class has reaffirmed that. It's opened up a lot of opportunities for me. Like you said, I got to cover the NCAA Wrestling Championships in Philly, used my networking skills that I learned in the class to reach out to some ESPN commentators, associate producers that have opened up some more opportunities for me. Hopefully next year, NCAA Women's National Wrestling Championships are going to be on ESPN, and I threw my name in the hat for a commentator if they need one, and they said they would be reaching out to me, so fingers crossed. Hopefully after all is said and done here at Iowa, I can move into hopefully a bigger job at like Fox Sports or ESPN. Those are ultimately the end goals for me, but baby steps along the way.
Exactly. You've taken those baby steps so far. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And what about you?
My goal for like the next couple years is to just keep having different experiences like this, whether through internships or other classes. And I think I'll be able to do that with the connections I made on this trip, reaching out to people who I actually made that personal connection with, and having those opportunities. I was always interested in social media marketing, so this trip also kind of assured that for me, that that's what I want to do. So definitely want to have some more experiences in sports. I currently work doing social media with the hospitals right now. Awesome. So I'm excited to kind of dive more into the sports field and see where that goes.
Absolutely. And now I got to ask about Wayne. He's a University of Iowa graduate. He worked at ESPN for a long time, but he's decided to come back to Iowa. If he's watching right now, go ahead and mute this part. But what was it like learning from Wayne? Because he does have all that experience and all those connections at Chicago. Jacob, we'll start with you this time. Throw off the order. What was it like being with Wayne for this experience?
It was absolutely incredible. Similar to Tiana, I took a class with him in the fall. College Athletic, Big Money Tradition. Great class, highly recommend it. And once I figured out that he was at ESPN for 23 years, all I wanted to do was pick his brain and build hopefully a good connection with him. And doing this experience, Wayne is absolutely amazing. He is a great professor, great human being, great guy in general. And if you want to do anything in sports media, I definitely think taking any of his classes will help you get in the right direction.
Absolutely. Katrina, what was it like for you working with Wayne?
I had never taken a class with him before because I, again, am not connected into the sports major. But it was really, he was super nice day one. I felt very comfortable. And I feel like he knew everyone in Chicago related to sports ever. So that was really cool. I was like, I feel like I'm in the presence of a really well-connected, like very established person. So I tried to kind of soak up everything he tried to teach us. And then we went to the Chicago Sports History Museum, is that what it's called, in the water tower place? Yeah. And he was just like looking at a wall, and then we were like, oh, what are you looking at? And he was like, oh, that's my article on the wall. And I was like, oh, that's crazy.
That's just a wild thing to be able to flex.
Yeah, it's like on like printed on the wall of some of the Sports Chicago History Museum. It's so cool.
That's crazy. What about for you?
He's awesome. I'm in a sports writing class right now, and like literally from the first like week we started, and like 2 weeks after, my writing like drastically changed. He's just like super influential on, I think, like all of his students' writing and where they'll go in life. And yeah, him just like his career at like ESPN, like it's awesome. Like there's so much credibility there. And he's definitely my flex. I throw that around a lot. My professor worked at ESPN, so.
Absolutely. The first thing that I did when I went back home after doing that class was going to his 30 for 30 on the Chicago Cubs. Guy who reached over and grabbed the ball, and he was in that 30 for 30. I immediately turned that on and said, that's my professor. But one of the big takeaways for me taking that class a couple of years ago was the connections with your classmates that you get to make. You almost become like a little bit of a family during that week. You get to really know each other. What was that like for you guys, getting to connect with different students? Because like you guys said, when you walk in, you don't know a lot of the people. Maybe one or two you've known before, but what was that like, learning about each other, and what's the relationship like now?
It was great again. It's such a big campus, but even knowing 10 more students makes it feel so small. I see them like everywhere, and that's so nice. Like just to like smile, even if it's just a smile and wave. We don't have time to talk, but I still hang out. I think we all still hang out a lot. We're actually going to Sophie's birthday party on Friday. So, yeah, we still like are active in our group chat. Any like sports news that comes up, we're like in it, immediately chatting about it. So it's great.
That's awesome.
It's been a very nice experience getting to meet everyone. The very first night we were there, we all went to Dave & Buster's and played Deal or No Deal religiously. And then we found an axe throwing game that Katrina actually set the high score on. It was very fun, and for somebody like me being non-traditional, it was one of those things I was like a little worried about, like how am I going to fit in with like people that might be a little bit younger than me or even just fresh out of high school. But it was a great experience. Everyone's really cool. I'm glad I made a lot of good friends. I'm sorry I'm not going to be at Sophie's birthday party. I'm going to DC for a sports marketing conference, so I'll be gone. But I'll be there in spirit.
I agree with everything you guys are both saying, that everyone was so nice the whole time. I felt like no one was being like standoffish or weird like at all. It was like everyone was super accepting, and I could just turn around and talk to anyone at any time. And our group chat's still very active, yeah. Even our group me for like the whole class, like people will send like sports related job internship opportunities, or if something cool happens, like I'll go in the group me, or we have a Snapchat group chat where we send, you guys were sending pictures from this past week at the wrestling, yeah, that was cool.
Great experience. Chris is so much fun.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Sophie's birthday party on Friday. So we do still hang out, and it's really nice seeing everyone around the building. Like everyone will come up and say hi, which is nice.
Now we have time for just a couple more questions before we have to let you guys go. But for students that are interested in possibly going on this trip or getting more involved with sports media here at the journalism school, what would be your advice to them about getting a little bit more involved? We'll start with you, Katrina.
I think take all the opportunities you can. This class was super awesome. If you are able to take it and you get a spot in it, 100% take it. There's no way that it will not help you. It can only help you, and it's definitely worth it. And just in the journalism school in general, there's so many opportunities that you can take. I think just take as many as you can. And it's good resume, good for the resume, and good for just seeing what interests you, because there's so many opportunities here.
For me, I would recommend, echoing Katrina's statement, if you can take this class, definitely take it. It's a great hands-on experience. Other things I would highly recommend to anybody wanting to get into this, DITV, really good place to go. If you can, the Big Ten Student U is great. I'm just getting into that, getting reps in a sport I'm not really that familiar in, but it's helping me out with baseball. And one of the other things I would say is we have a podcast studio up in the Student Center of Alder. And one of the first pieces of advice I was given by Wayne and Andy Hamilton, who works for Flow, was just start something up yourself. Start a podcast. And that's what I ended up doing, and that's been my fast track into a lot of these things and helping me gain experience. So you have a lot going on here at the University of Iowa that you can look into and find. You just got to take the jump.
Absolutely. What about you?
Yeah, kind of same about that. If you can take this class, take it. But also go to like your office hours for your professors. They have so many years of experience underneath their belts. Like, just chat with them. Like, things might pop up. And then even just going to the Adler Lounge, like there's flyers everywhere. Like if you really take a look at them, there's always something going on, something you can do. Just getting involved as much as you can, join organizations, anything that anything that you can fill your time with, do it.
Absolutely. I'm going to steal a question from our last segment about the awesome group. If you give an elevator pitch about this Chicago sports media experience, what would it be to encourage students to go ahead and take it? We can start with you. No pressure. No pressure at all.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You're never going to get something like this. Well, you might, but the connections you'll find here, the connections you'll build within your group, they're going to last a lifetime outside of college. Someone said the sports world is so small, and it really is. So starting now, especially with this trip, it's just going to catapult you into your future.
Building connections is the cornerstone of a good, I'm messing up this pitch already, is the cornerstone of a great person, worker, employee. This class gives you not only good networking skills, but it teaches you everything to do behind the scenes as well. You're not going to get this anywhere else. Like we've said before, the Iowa School of Journalism is really one of one. And where other opportunity can you take other than here to get to meet all these high-level media people? Put your name out there, get the repetitions, ask questions to help build your brand. This class is one of one. Definitely take it if you get the chance.
I think Chicago is such a place for like sports media jobs, so it's really awesome that we got the chance to stay there and meet everyone that we could in the media realm there. So this is like my one opportunity to like make connections, LinkedIn connections, like so I can hopefully get connections outside of school. Definitely take this class. It's a really great experience. Sorry. I don't know. I just zoned out there. Sorry.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. And trips like this, again, are funded by days like today. It's One Day for Iowa. Scan the QR codes that are on your screen now. Go to oneday.uiowa.edu. Scan the QR code, the School of Journalism, MassCom, all the donations go to the school and help out with trips like this one. Scan the Daily Iowan QR code. Again, that helps fund students that are getting involved with journalism and mass communications right here in this studio and beyond, and being able to fund those trips as well. So again, One Day for Iowa. Scan the QR codes, oneday.uiowa.edu. All the money helps the students that are up here right now on the stage. They get to go on these awesome experiences. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Get back to class. It's 11:30, so I'm sure you guys are skipping some classes. But don't go away on the live stream. We've got more interviews coming up next right here on the Daily Iowan live stream.
It's a week long, July 13th to the 17th this year, and we bring in a large group of students, and they study with some of our journalism professors here, as well as some professional journalists and some high school teachers who have an expertise area in the topic that they're teaching.
Before coming to join the faculty at the University of Iowa, I have been a career journalist in Eastern Iowa for the Gazette and the Des Moines Register, and I joined the faculty because I wanted to really build the pipeline of journalists coming into newspaper and broadcast and other journalism fields, and I think this camp is where things start. They get that seed of an idea, and they want to come to college and study it further, and so I really love getting this opportunity to meet these journalists at this young age, and then if they come to Iowa, get to work with them in the classroom more. I've been an instructor at the Iowa Summer Journalism Workshop for, I don't know, maybe like 7 or 8 years, and it's great. These students, they come in from all over Iowa and also other parts of the country. We do a lot of great activities. I lead the investigative section, so I really want students to get a sense of the breadth and depth of investigative journalism. We take a field trip up to Cedar Rapids, where we go to either the state or federal court system and observe a court hearing, often talk with a courts reporter for the Cedar Rapids Gazette. We'll tour the Cedar Rapids newsroom, and that is really a great opportunity to look at documents, to see how government works, and for these beginning journalists to kind of get a flavor of that.
So I'm Sofia History Favorito. I'm currently a graduate student here at the journalism department. I was an undergrad before, so I have that experience of what it is like to be an undergrad. And I was also the head counselor for the journalism summer camp. And it was a great experience, actually. I really get to bond with my group of students, and I feel like they had an incredible experience getting in contact with the classes, with the material, with campus, the life also outside of campus, because I took them to have froyo one day, and that was really fun. And also with other possible classmates in the future if they decide to come here to Iowa. So it's a great community building at the same time as like skill set building opportunity for them.
I'm Erin Goss. I am the assistant director of the Iowa Summer Journalism Workshop, and it is a year-long planning process on our end, and we do a lot of basically advertising for the workshop, getting instructors involved. This year we have 2 new instructors that we kind of scouted out, and have 2 new workshops for those instructors as well. And then we just reach out to counselors with students in the journalism school to see if they're interested. We schedule the workshop for each day, kind of what they are going to be doing, and then we also interact with the instructors to see if they're doing field trips like Erin does with the Cedar Rapids Gazette going to there, and then other local field trips to like the Muscatine County Fair, and then also just in local Iowa City area as well.
So one of the great things about our summer journalism workshop is we're able to provide this experience to our students at a relatively low rate. It actually costs over $780 per student, but because of sponsorships that we receive, we're able to provide it for around $575 or so per student for a double room, or $620 some for a single room. And then we also provide scholarships. So students in Lynn County are able to apply for the Lynn County scholarship and get their entire tuition paid. And then we also have some full tuition scholarships that we provide for financial assistance to students who really need it. But when they come for the week, all their meals are covered, their living is covered, all of their the tools and things that they need to participate in the workshop is covered. So they're able to come here and not really worry about spending any money unless they decide to go get some froyo or, another fun thing downtown. But otherwise, everything is included in the tuition that they pay for. So it's really a great deal for these students to come, and they're having a fun time learning some cool stuff. And then also just, one of the days we do a scavenger hunt around Iowa City. Another day we go to the recreation center, and they get to go to the pool there, the recreation pool, and all of those things are a part of the experience. So we have about 70 students who participate every year. This year we're hoping to bring a larger group of students, and we've worked really hard to reach out to more people. One thing that's really amazing is we have this great alumni network, and so a lot of our alumni will pass on information about the workshops to people in their community. And so that's one of the ways that we're able to reach out across the country, is because we do have alumni who are living and working in states all across the country. That's a great way to help promote the journalism workshop. If you're an alum and you would like to share information about it with your high school or your local community, if you just reach out to us, and we can share flyers with you, digital or print, so that you can share those with your local schools. We start off every morning with a meeting where we bring everybody together, and we do some fun activities in the morning. one day we'll have the camp counselors just talk about who they are and what their activities are during the school year, so that all of the campers get a feel for who the counselors are. And then we also have some fun Kahoots that we do in the morning. And Erin, I think you did some fun exercises this past summer.
Outside of kind of the normal workshop hours, of course, we have the scavenger hunt and the rec center pool that Michelle talked about. Previously, we've done bowling, I believe, and then I know a movie night is something that they're interested in, karaoke. This year, we're going to do friendship bracelets, maybe some clay molting. I don't know what you call that exactly, but yeah, arts and crafts. So that's something that we're really looking forward to. And then, of course, with their counselors, they're able to like go downtown and go to the stores. And we have game nights too. Last year we had to be inside Catlett during a really bad storm, but they had a lot of fun with games and puzzles. So there's a lot of variety with the activities during the week for the students to participate in.
Because the students pick one topic to focus on throughout the week, they get to be really close with their instructors and also the other students in their class. And so that is a really great way to, build relationships and build a sense of community. You're going, together with the same people, and most of the people in the class that they start off with are people that they don't know. And so, when you're in that environment, a bunch of people coming together who don't know each other, then it makes it a lot more likely that you are going to feel comfortable reaching out to each other. So I think that's, one of the benefits is that they are really focusing on a topic area and spending a lot of time together in the classroom with each other.
I do think that, yeah, they seem very separate when the week starts, but, we do introductions and different activities together, and then they're really gelling as the week goes on. In between our instructional workshops, they go eat meals together and then have their fun activities in the evening. So oftentimes in between like an evening or an afternoon workshop session and the next morning, they come in and they're like best buds with someone anew. And so that's kind of a fun bonding experience to witness.
One of the, things that we're doing right now is we are looking for donations to help sponsor scholarships for students. We're also looking for donations to help provide funding for our field trips because we have to rent cars, and then and we also have to provide meals away from campus. And so if somebody would like to help support a field trip or support a student scholarship, or just in general help fund the workshop so that we can continue to keep the costs low for every student who comes to the workshop, that would be a great way for somebody to put their money towards making a journalism experience available to a lot of different students, and to start inspiring the next generation of students just when they're getting exposed to it at high school, because maybe they've been participating in their school newspaper or working on their school yearbook, and they're starting to see that this might be an area that they'd be interested in. And so by coming here, we're really helping to fuel and inspire that interest.
What is DITV? Well, of course, a lot of people know the Daily Ion. We are the TV branch of that. We have around 30 employees, but the fun fact about DITV, it is completely student-run. I am a senior myself, and everyone in the tech booth behind me running the cameras today, and even the talent today, it is all student-run. I am in charge of everything in DITV. We do everything around here in Iowa City. Our sports director was just in Oklahoma to cover the women's team in March Madness. We send people all around from politics. We had people in swing states such as Georgia, Wisconsin, and Nevada for this presidential election. And of course, when the Iowa caucuses were here, we were everywhere covering it. I was in Des Moines covering a Ron DeSantis watch party, and we are the fifth best student broadcast in the nation as of November. And right now we are up for 7 Midwestern Student Production Awards in 5 categories, including 2 for Best Newscast and 1 for Best Sportscast. Again, this is 100% student run. While we do have professional coaches who keep in and watch us, it is all run by us. We do everything, and it is a lot of fun. We go live 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings at 8:30 on thedailyiowan.com and the YouTube The Daily Iowan. Now, what we're about to show you is an overall excellence. It's just to highlight everything we did back in the year 2024. This was also submitted to the 2025 IBNA Awards, Iowa Broadcasting News Association, where we are also up for a lot of awards. So sit back and enjoy DITV.
Good morning from Iowa City. It is Wednesday, October 9th, and I'm Grace Lathrop.
And I'm Jordan Tovar. The Iowa caucuses on Monday set the stage of the presidential race, with Iowa voters choosing who they'd like to see as their Republican presidential candidate. DITV had reporters across the state at candidates' watch parties and caucus precincts as the results unfolded.
We have full team coverage across the U.S. as the Iowa women's basketball team took on South Carolina in the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship.
David Consuelos in Cedar Rapids for a historic conclusion to a historic season.
Hey, thanks guys. I am in Cedar Rapids inside the Alliant Powerhouse where wrestlers are starting to make their way in to warm up, where history will be made.
Live right now at Iowa City High School where a planned protest is taking place. Kara, can you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, good.
Thanks, Ashley. I'm live outside now at Iowa City High School where several students have organized an all-day walkout to protest the U.S.'s involvement in the Israel-Hamas war.
Jay Reister, who is live in Chicago for Big Ten Media Day, will send it out to him for today's sports.
Yeah, guys, I'm live from the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center in Chicago for the men's and women's Big Ten Media Days.
As you guys said, I am live here in Carver Hawkeye Arena, and the atmosphere is absolutely electric. The Cyclones currently lead the Hawkeyes 19-15.
Thanks, guys. That's right. I'm outside of City Hall right now where the discussion of banning kratom, a dangerous drug often associated with self-treating anxiety, depression, and pain, has been an ongoing conversation in the state of Iowa.
Guys, I'm here at the Riverside Casino where Marionette Miller Meeks is hosting her election watch party. Now you see there are people behind me who are starting to get in, and we are anxiously waiting for those votes for not only the national election, but here in District 1.
I'm at Big Grove Brewery in Iowa City where the Casino Bohannon watch party is taking place. It doesn't look like she's here yet, but as you can see, there's a pretty big crowd behind me. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's really loud. It's very lively. Whenever there's something new, there's a cheering behind me.
So I'm here at the Grand Hyatt in Atlanta, Georgia, and where the Georgia GOP is holding their official watch party for tonight's election. Now, as of now, Donald Trump leads Kamala Harris in the state 52.7 to 48.7.
I am at the Nevada Democratic Party's watch party for the election, and we're having votes roll in because their polls just closed right now. So pretty soon we're going to be seeing how one swing state is going. Earlier I was at a polling location in the Cimarron area of Nevada, of Las Vegas, which is a more Republican area. It is more outside of the city than compared to the Strip, compared to places like Rhodes Ranch, Spring Valley, East Las Vegas, North Las Vegas. So that place definitely was more Trump skewing, but places like East Las Vegas, which are more Hispanic oriented, they're most likely going to be oriented towards Kamala Harris.
That's right. I am standing right out here at Mercy Hospital, soon to be known as the University of Iowa Healthcare Medical Center downtown. The name and sign will be changed in about 10 minutes and will be followed by celebratory events.
DITV's Max Ron-Grease live inside Carver Hawkeye Arena to talk about that tough match. Max, what happened this weekend in Ann Arbor?
Good morning, Michael. There aren't any Hawkeye wrestlers here in Carver Hawkeye Arena just yet. And to be honest, it
didn't really seem like they showed up between the duel against Michigan in Ann Arbor on Friday.
We have a team coverage from Carver Hawkeye Arena where history was made last night.
We have DITV's Michael Merrick and AJ Reeser live there at Carver now.
Thanks, guys. After closing on August 25th, the local Starbucks is open again. This reopening brings students and community members a place to hang out, get a pick-me-up, and try their infamous fall seasonal drinks.
Here live at the Rose Bowl, where the Hawkeyes will battle the Bruins tonight in this historic stadium where they haven't always had the most success. These two teams have only played each other 8 times, with the last matchup being in 1986 right here in Pasadena.
While many students went home to celebrate Thanksgiving on Thursday, others celebrated here on campus.
DITV's Avery Aarons is live outside of the University Capitol Center with what international students did to ring in the holiday.
Thanks, guys. The University of Iowa International Program had a traditional holiday meal during fall break that only gets popular every year.
With tensions rising in the Middle East, Iowans are protesting government actions abroad. DITV's Kayla Smith has the reactions and concerns from protesters.
I'm here at the Pentecost where pro-Palestine organizations have come together against recent violence in Lebanon.
Bargain, bargain, you can hide. You support genocide.
With Monday being considered the deadliest day in Lebanon since 2006, multiple pro-Palestine organizations put together what they called an emergency protest to speak out against the conflict in the Middle East.
Bomb everything they can bomb in Gaza. They bomb the hospitals, the schools, the places of worship, the houses, the infrastructure, the water, the food.
With the presidential election being just 40 days away, many protesters used the demonstration as a chance to express their dissatisfaction with the current administration's handling of the war in Gaza.
And this President Biden, I also deeply regret voting for him 4 years ago.
Several speakers highlighted the federal government's tax policies and financial support for Israel as key reasons for the protest.
Now with the reward of another $20 billion, they can perhaps go on and do what they've always wanted, is to take over all of Lebanon and Syria and perhaps some of Egypt.
Our government support supplying weapons, supplying money for the extremist government in Israel.
The federal government wasn't the only focus, as many protesters called for action from local government officials and candidates.
Christina Bohannon has not once said that she supports the ceasefire.
These organizations plan to protest every Friday until peace is achieved in Gaza. From the Pentecost, this is Kayla Smith, DITV.
Now, one field hockey senior is embarking on a unique journey. DITV's Colin Carruthers swept by her study to learn more.
Iowa's Hillary Cox has had her success on the field, but now she's using her field hockey experience to conduct a study unlike anything ever done before.
I did a lot of review of what is out there in the world and what studies have been done already, and there is very, very little on the sweep skill, so a lot of what we know is just from experience and isn't backed up with data.
A sweep skill is mostly seen during penalty corners and looks something just like this, flat and quick. So for their study, they'll have participants do just that.
And we realized, I think there was only 1 or 2 different studies that had actually studied it. And so we wanted to contribute to the literature by providing some objective analysis about what makes a successful sweep happen.
They'll be looking for certain metrics including acceleration, knee angle, and stick angle, but to be able to pick up this data, they'll be using a special tool from Hillary's professor, Rachel Vitale.
We're putting these sensors on different body segments, and because we're collecting all of this data, we can actually figure out how they're moving.
The study will also serve its benefits for players and their health.
What we're doing with this study and the information we'll gain from it as well will help maybe in the future guide injury prevention strategies for field hockey.
Now, Cox has been flooded with academic awards. She was named to the Big Ten Fall Academic All-Conference team last year and was on the Division I National Academic Squad in 2022. But this is a sport that's been near and dear to Hillary's heart ever since she was young.
So I started playing field hockey when I was 10. One of my best friends joined a rec league at the Park District over the summer, and I fell in love with the sport. I think it's fast-paced, it's exciting, there's a lot to learn.
Using the wearable sensors to understand something that she has done over and over and over again for more than a decade.
Hillary Cox and Professor Vitale are hoping to have their data collected in full by the end of the fall so they can start to analyze it during the spring semester. From Grant Field, Colin Carruthers, DITV Sports.
are many DJs in Iowa City that work at the dozens of bars. DITV's Hannah Lipsky has a behind-the-booth look into 2 DJs that stand out from the rest.
The bar scene in downtown Iowa City is a huge part of the community's economy. There are a lot of people that go into running these bars, from bartenders and bouncers to DJs, who set the tone all night long, or at least until bar close.
I feel like I've really built a community with everyone here. It's helped me connect with so many other people that I would have not met before.
Emma is breaking down barriers being the only female DJ in Iowa City.
I'd try to go up to other DJs, and they're mainly men, and I'd say, hey, I'm trying to become a DJ, I want to learn from you. And they kind of took it as in a way that I'm just a girl trying to talk with them and be cool or whatever, when I really just want to learn how music works.
Her freshman year of college, she asked Studio 13 if they had any job openings, and soon after began DJing for them. It took her about a year to learn and feel comfortable and also craft her own style.
I like to think I'm more of a 2000s person. I really like to go back and remind people of how they used to be as when they were younger.
And another DJ is a favorite among Iowa students.
And I know DJ Jimmy Jim because we were like Jimmy Jim.
I would quit once I had a day job. That was 47 years ago.
Jim drives from Des Moines to Iowa City every weekend to DJ, and he started his journey in high school playing for sock hop dances. He started on vinyl records and then moved to cassettes, CDs, and now a computer, learning how to work with all of these on his own.
When I walk into the booth to start the show, I don't know what I'm going to start with a lot of times because I totally depend on what the crowd feels like to me.
Jim describes his style as a hands-up, sing-along guy with female-friendly music. And despite his age, he is not planning on quitting anytime soon.
I certainly have a fear that at some point in time, somebody's going to say, hold out, new in, or whatever. But, at that point in time, then I've had a good run. If that happens. I've been doing this a long time, had a lot of fun.
And like any other art form, DJs have their critics.
You can't be sensitive either because people are very critical. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
These DJs are just a couple of the many others in Iowa City that work these late hours and in this unique environment. From the Ped Mall, this is Hannah Lipsky, DITV.
Any guys out there that consider Iowa or want to be a Hawkeye one day, I mean, this is why you come to this place. And some teams might lose in the bowl game and it might not mean anything, but just hearing you say this the end of the road is it's something that I still haven't even been able to comprehend yet.
One of the things that makes college football what it is the finality of it. Players come into college as raw talents and they leave developed as people and athletes. But that means you only get a few years with those athletes, and as bowl season draws to an end, Iowa's time with their seniors is as well.
We had a great group of 20-plus seniors. Done a great job for us during their entire careers. Each and every one did a great job, exemplifying what it is to be a good student athlete, good college football player.
This senior class has battled through adversity on the field and off the field during their careers in the black and gold.
We came into college at a pretty crazy time back during 2020 and COVID, and every day it was, okay, the season's canceled, but it's back on. Oh, it's canceled, but it's 4 games, then it's full game season. It was crazy.
This group's impact and leadership will be felt through the team for years to come.
When I got here, they welcomed me and they showed me right from wrong, discipline in an Iowa football way. And I mean, those guys left a legacy here at Iowa they'll be remembered forever.
We made the Big Ten championship last year, and everything, the success that these guys have brought to this program has been pretty sweet.
This class of 2020, I think we left the jersey in a better place for sure.
But it wasn't all sad in the Hawkeye locker room. There were some lighthearted moments between teammates and friends.
Castro told me that I'm currently unemployed, and that is a little scary because I'm no longer a college student and I do not have a job. And so rent is still due at the first of the month, guys.
But as the new year approaches, the machine that is college football keeps on rolling, and the Hawkeyes will have to turn their attention to the future of the program while remembering those who left their mark in the black and gold. From Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, Brady Barrand, DITV Sports.
Engineering students, faculty, and other organizations were given a chance to show off their creative side in a unique way. DITV's Assistant News Director Johnny Valtman has more on the competition.
University of Iowa engineering departments and other organizations created par 3 mini golf holes to show off their designs to the community.
compete.
The amount of creativity that goes into little competitions like these are just always incredible, and just seeing what everyone comes up with is just always fun and unique.
And if a hole wants to take home first place, it truly has to be a hole-in-one.
I feel like everybody loves skee ball, and we hadn't seen a skee ball themed mini golf before, and we think it takes skill.
Using what they've learned in class, the teams were able to bring their designs to life. The public was able to vote for their favorite, and judges graded the holes off of the technicalities of the course and the creative execution.
So we're taking heat transfer right now, so the BioBot pertains to the equations that we use in heat transfer. Solar panels, they pertain to electricity, and we've taken electrical circuits, and then the windmills.
The engineering library took home first place, Continental Crossings placed second, and shared the People's Choice Award with civil engineering. Groups who participated enjoyed the competition and the opportunity to show off their skills.
I know that we did this, we could get our name out there. We're a really small club, so it's nice for people to see what we do versus just kind of hear what we do.
In classes, we just usually do equations, and so being able to collaborate with peers and work on a tangible thing is pretty cool.
If you were in the rough over the weekend and couldn't make it to the holes, don't worry, the winners courses will be available during On Iowa Week next semester. From the Siemens Center, Johnny Valtman, DITV.
From Atlanta, Georgia, Jordan Tovar, DITV.
From Las Vegas, Nevada, Jace Bertrand, DITV.
From the Wisconsin Conservatory of Lifelong Learning, this is Julia Rhodes, DITV.
From Washington, D.C., Johnny Valtman, DITV.
From Spartan Stadium, Tara Gillespie,
Elise Gann, DITV Sports.
From the Final Four in Cleveland, Ohio, Michael Merrick, DITV Sports.
From the Big Ten Tournament in Minneapolis, Brady Barron, DITV Sports.
For Ryan Paris and Sydney Goldberg, I'm Grace Lathrop.
And for Julia Rhodes and Marshawn Gunn, I'm Jordan Tovar.
See you again on Friday morning right here on DITV. Hi Hawkeyes, just letting you know we are checking in on our thermometer and at $5,000 raised. That is amazing, and we are so thankful to all our friends, family, alumni, SJMC supporters. Let's keep going and getting these donations in. As a reminder, our goal is $7,500 and we are so close. So just another little bit of donations. $10 is all you guys need to donate either or, but we preferably want both, of course, to onedayforiowa.org SJMC 25 and or onedayforiowa.org DI 25. You can support both. You know, we have all these initiatives that you've greatly seen at, you know, this programming today from the Daily Iowan, all of our supported organizations and clubs, experiential learning, our alumni that come back and help current students. Please donate to keep that going and help support future students' initiatives. Thank you, and we'll go back to the newsroom.
All right, thanks, Christine. And we are coming up close on our goal at the thermometer, so I'm excited to keep going. We got a couple more hours left in the telethon, so hopefully we'll reach our goal soon.
Just 2,500 away. We're getting close.
Super close. But for now, we are back in the DITV studio, and we have some special guests who are Coralville Media Collaborative interns this year, and they're going to share a little bit more about their experience. So welcome you guys to the studio.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks for being here with us. And to start, tell us a little bit about Coralville Media Collaborative and what it is as an organization.
Yeah, so the Coralville Media Collaborative is kind of an opportunity for nonprofits in the community to connect with the opportunities that we have here at the J School and have interns kind of like help them out with whatever they really need regarding media, marketing, or kind of like content management that they wouldn't otherwise be able to kind of like get on their own.
Yeah, it's also a great experience for students to have, just to have more experience making content for local places.
Yeah, and how did you guys originally hear about it and get involved yourselves?
So I was in a class that worked with the food pantry last semester, and then I found out that the internship was also working at food pantry, so I wanted to get more involved with them and their experience and stuff, so I just kind of applied and it kind of just worked out.
Yeah, I saw an email about it, and I originally started as a pre-dental student, and I saw that there was an opportunity to work with the Iowa City Free Medical and Dental Clinic. And as a journalism student as well, I thought it would be a perfect way to tie the two.
Yeah, it's an excellent, it sounds like a great opportunity. And do you guys know what kind of sparked the connection between Coralville and the journalism school here to work together?
I'm not quite sure. I know that Rachel Young, she's pretty involved in a lot of the nonprofits. And so I think that kind of like sparked her interest in making a collaborative people to work together. But I have no idea beyond that. Yeah.
What have been some of the projects that you guys have worked on since you guys have joined?
Some of the projects that I've worked on are making like newsletters for the Iowa City Free Medical and Dental Clinic for winter and spring. And one of the like larger things that I did was a Giving Tuesday campaign, which was for after Thanksgiving on like Giving Tuesday in November, where we tried to raise money for the clinic, and we raised around $12,000 through that campaign, so it was nice.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing and successful. And tell me a little bit about how you feel like this opportunity has set you up for personal development and just job growth and opportunity for when you do step into the workforce after graduation.
Sure. So I guess a big one is just like communication with the clients. Like we're working with real people, so it's different than just like in a class when you're working with people. You like want to make sure that the feedback you're getting, you're implementing that into the work that you're doing so that everyone is happy with the content they're receiving.
Yeah, and I think for me, it really helped me realize kind of what I want to do as a career and helping healthcare facilities and hospitals and stuff kind of manage their media that can be received better towards the public and patients.
Absolutely.
Why do you guys think it's important for students and for the community to continue to engage with these nonprofits that you guys work with?
I feel like it's important for students to get an idea of the opportunities that nonprofits do offer that isn't just volunteer work. You don't have to just be volunteering in the clinic or volunteering at the food pantry. You could help them in aspects of media and communication. And I think it's also helpful for students to see that side that is kind of more vulnerable for the nonprofits.
What would you say has been something that you've taken away from working with these nonprofits? Because like you said, you've worked with the food pantry quite a bit.
Yeah.
What have been some of your takeaways personally, not even outside of the workplace and everything that you've taken away from these experiences?
So the food pantry does these like community meals 4 times a year, and just seeing the impact that like the food pantry has on people has just been so important. And watching people like come in, get the food, people like, it's just nice to meet new people in the community as well, and just seeing the impact that I have on people.
Yeah, I think there's something so valuable about learning how to work in a nonprofit setting, and you really do see the impact directly, and I think that that's super special and something that every student should experience. So going off of that, how can people get involved with the with this opportunity?
So you can reach out to Rachel. She's kind of like our head supervisor here at the school for the CMC internship. And also I think that they reach out later on after the school year's over, so for the next semester.
Excellent.
Yeah, there'll be emails that I get sent out because we're both graduating. So
Yeah, exactly.
Slots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And do you feel like this opportunity has kind of set you guys up for success post-graduation?
100%.
Yeah, I think for sure. It's definitely giving me an experience that I wouldn't have had otherwise, especially working with nonprofits and healthcare.
Absolutely, and that is why it is so important to donate today, so that students like these amazing young ladies who do work for the Coralville Collaborative community can get the opportunity to experience this firsthand. So be sure to donate, scan those QR codes, and donate as much as you possibly can for One Day for Iowa.
Exactly. Scanning the QR codes again. We're at $5,000 right now. All that money goes towards helping students like the ones you see up on the stage right now work towards getting these experiences and getting out in the community and working with these nonprofits like you two as well. So scan the QR codes. Again, the money goes to the School of Journalism, Mass Comm, and of course the Daily Iowan as well to help with students getting out there and telling stories, or go to oneday.uiowa.edu to donate today. But back to you guys and what you guys do with this incredible organization, but also about why it's so important. You said it, it's important to get out in the community and work with these nonprofits and make that connection with the students. Why do you think it's important to engage with nonprofits, and why do these nonprofits need that exceptional communication materials as well that you guys provide?
I think for nonprofits, it's important to be able to get visibility in the community and kind of like get their name out there, because their name alone, nonprofit, you know, they need as much help as they can get, especially through volunteers and everything too, since they don't really hire off the fly like that. So I think visibility is really important, and that's something that we can help with.
Yeah, and as graduating seniors from the J School, what's one piece of advice that you would give to incoming freshmen, whether it has to do with the Coralville Media Collaborative or just getting involved in general?
I would say just apply for the positions. Like, you never know what you might end up doing if you love it or not, but just apply so you can get your name out there and get to know like the faculty and stuff too.
Yeah, and has this opportunity contributed to what you guys think you want to do after graduation?
100%. I'm really into like the production side of stuff, and so it's fun to get to like take my own like path and like create content for them that like is just like really whatever I think might be fit for the food pantry. So yeah.
Yeah, me too. I think it definitely opened my eyes to what I want to do as a career, and currently applying to like master's programs tied to healthcare marketing, so it works really well.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. And like you said, you're both graduating seniors. You're going to be stepping away from this organization. How do you hope that this organization will grow in the future, and what do you hope that your supposed legacy will be left behind with this organization?
I guess ultimately I'd want them to grow to more nonprofits. Right now there's just 2, but like, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5, and then just get more interns to help work and help grow the resources at the nonprofits and what they need.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully there's definitely so many nonprofits in Iowa City that I feel like, and Coralville as well, obviously, that could really use the help, and hopefully we can bring some more into the internship.
Is there anything else that students can do to help grow it? Because of course joining it is one thing, but when they join and get involved, how else can they help grow this organization and help these nonprofits in the Coralville area?
I think telling their friends. I feel like everything word of mouth is really helpful. And if someone has an idea for a nonprofit that maybe needs some help in this department of like getting their name out there and creating content and stuff like that, it wouldn't hurt to like bring it up to Rachel and see if they would want to tie it together and make an internship out of it as well and kind of add it to the roster.
Yeah. And kind of speaking on Rachel, she is a wonderful professor. I've loved the classes I've gotten the opportunity to take with her, but how has she kind of been a mentor towards you guys?
So she very much just like steps in when she needs to be. She lets us like figure out things by herself first, so it's very like real world scenarios. Like, I don't know, she calls us like our little birdies. Like, they have to fly away from the nest at some point. So yeah, just like letting us figure it out on our own, but then step in when we need to.
Yeah, she's been great. She really just like lets us kind of take reign, and then whenever we get stuck with like a problem or something, she'll help us as best as she can. And it really is like nice to just touch base with her and kind of figure things out, but also having the freedom to do it on our own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How would you say that this organization has grown? How long has it been around, and how have you seen it grown since you guys have joined?
I'm not quite sure about that. I know there was an intern last year, but I have no idea how far back besides that.
I'm not sure either. I think it maybe a year. I just know there was one intern before me at the
so it was really small.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. I think we maybe grown to like one more person on your side. Yeah.
So you guys are kind of like the bread and butter of this organization, and they need you to recruit people to start to join in. So kind of going off of that, if you could tell people to join, what would be your core reason as to why they should become a part of this?
I mean, besides just the experience, I think a big part of it is that you get to make your own schedule. So like being a student, you're obviously having another job, like having a busy schedule, you can like make your own hours and work when it works for you, which I think is like very important for students to be able to like just have a job that allows you to do that.
I agree. I think it also allows you to kind of have a little creative freedom depending on what the nonprofit is looking for, and it really helps you kind of spread those wings that you aren't able to in classes that have like a more structured kind of set. So I think it definitely helps students with that as well.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I really loved getting to know about CMC a little bit more. So don't forget to donate to One Day for Iowa. Scan the QR code so that students can have opportunities like this and be able to experience some real life job opportunities during their time here at the University of Iowa.
Away from our goal of 7,500. You can donate at onedayforiowaagain.org, SJMC25, DI25. We would love it if you donate $10 to either one or $10 to both. That $20 can go so long. We've seen it with these programs collaboratively. our seniors are leaving. I'm a senior myself. I mean, we are leaving these programs and we are hoping to see them grow. They are just making impacts on the professional development of students today who are going to be journalists in the work field, just like you one day maybe. And you want to, if your families, you want to support your Hawks and see us grow and fly. So definitely continue donating $10 to either one, $20 for both. That's all it takes right now. We are just trying to push through, maybe get that power hour in, send in your donations and get this thermometer to rise. We have much more programming coming up so you can see those students' talents. We definitely have a podcast coming up with Melissa Tully and Kennedy Lean. Like definitely seeing both of those come together and display our Hawkeyes are truly at work here. They are showcasing their talents and hoping that you donate. So please do so and let us show you what our futures are bright for and what we can contribute to our world. Thank you so much and back to the studio.
University of Iowa gives the opportunity to students to get live on the air, get experiences running their own podcasts and calling games.
Mm-hmm.
He told me to stop. Do they have like audio?
Up there on the ceiling, that's where a pipe burst and kind of destroyed our main console. So we decided to turn this room into a community space and a space for live performances by bands that we will air on KRUI 89.7. This is our control room. It looks super cool with all the glowing boxes and everything. Come down this hall here and you'll see all this vinyl in here, lots and lots of albums. There's a whole closet full of CDs. That's our technical room. It's kind of a mess. Here's our current studio. This is where the magic happens. This is where our DJs work. And anybody who wants to have a show on KRUI can apply to do so. Community members or students or faculty or staff. Being on the radio is fun. Radio is cool, magical stuff. And there's another room in there that we're setting up to be a podcast studio and live streaming studio. And so a lot of things in progress, but we're really excited about where we're going. We have huge gratitude for everybody who has donated to KRUI in the past, and we hope that you will all donate to KRUI today. And so, thank you so much, and we'll see you again.
Thank you to Nick Arp for giving us that tour of the KRUI studios. But we have a couple of KRUIers in here today. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves first, but thank you guys so much for being here today on our One Day for Iowa live stream.
Yeah, it's great to have it. It's great to have. Thank you for having us. My name is Emily Delgado. I'm the financial director for KRUI, and I host a show. I host my show on Fridays from 3 to 5 called What Goes On with my co-host Anna, and we just play our favorite songs, and it's so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, and I'm Kimber McLeod. I have been the faculty advisor to KRUI for 25 years. I've been part of college radio since 1989 when I first went to college. So I have a lot of experience, and I've just been involved in every college radio station every time I get a degree, or now faculty member. Yeah. So yeah, it's been really fun watching the station grow and evolve over the years.
That is awesome. I mean, you've been here for 25 years. How have you seen the student radio station grow?
Well, first, when I got here, it was basically in a really rundown house across the river. And then they were going to demolish, or they did demolish the house, but they were planning on putting KRUI in an even dumpier house, or kind of like a barn across the river, which was also subsequently been torn down. And the cool thing about college radio is that they had the students had a megaphone, like, to, basically protest this. Like, you're not going to put us in like these crappy studios, because the higher ups, they're not really the administrators, they're not thinking about this. They're worried about facilities and space and counting beans and stuff. But the cool thing about being involved in college radio is they literally they had like FM radio signal where they got to basically create stake their position about why KRUI is really important. And they were really convincing. The students were really convincing. I was super proud of them. I did a lot of stuff behind the scenes trying to get us moved into the IMU, which is where it's been for, I guess, since 2005 or so. With a couple interruptions. There was a big flood in 2008, so we had to move out and move back in, and then there was COVID. But every year, or every time that happens, the station bounces back, really because of the students. It's a student-run organization, and it's a student-run media operation, which is why I'm really happy that you're here to talk more about it, because, yeah, you're the best person to talk about what's going on right now.
And what has been your role like, and what has it been like for you being a student, getting this opportunity to work with a student radio station?
Yeah, I was actually really nervous to step in my role as a financial director. I was an incoming director that did not have a show the year previous to, so I was really nervous. But with my amazing director board from last year and this year, we were able to really pave a way for students to learn how to use this audio equipment. We know we call ourselves the lab, so we teach our students, our members, how to use this board, how to really make your voice as a radio host, and it's been really fun. The environment's amazing. I know Canberra can attest to that. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary of getting our FM signal last year. We had a huge party at the IMU, and it was really, really fun to celebrate the whole history of KRUI.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And going back to you, what led you to stick around with KRUI for all these years?
Oh, I mean, college radio is just in my blood. And also, when I joined in 2000 as faculty advisor, the internet was fairly new. Live streaming wasn't really a thing. And so it's just been really fun to see the station evolve from what was primarily like an FM broadcast radio station, and that still is one of its primary missions, but it's expanded to have a website with, music news, music, sports, other kinds of news. It's there's also, streaming, so you can listen in on KRUI either through terrestrial signals, like with an antenna, right, or through internet streaming. But, it has a sports department, it has news department. There are different directors who have opportunities to, get experience with any number of things, like working with the community, selling basically like, they're not ads because we're non-commercial, but selling grant spots, that's the term, to local businesses, which is another way that connects the university and the students at KRUI to the wider community in general. So yeah, it's just been really fun to see how things have evolved, because it went from, in 2000 when I joined, basically just being an FM radio tower to being kind of like a 360 media organization.
Yeah, and I think we were talking earlier, sometimes radio is a little bit lost in I feel like Adler as a whole, like there's not as many classes to get involved with like radio production, but it is something that is so cool and so fun too to get involved. So in your guys' opinion, why do you think that radio is something that students should explore or try to get a little bit more experience with too?
Yeah, I think it's great, especially in Adler. We have DITV, we have print media, but we don't have a really big focus on audio production, radio broadcasting, and I think it's just really fun to set you apart from your from your other students in Adler, and I love it. I love being able just to control the mic. It's a little bit less nerve-wracking to be on camera, but being able to just say your thoughts about a certain song, or if you're in sports, just broadcast a sport. I know AJ, you've done that a couple of times, so it's really fun to hear all of your fellow students do the things that they're loving.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal experience for everyone that gets involved. Like you said, calling games and being able to travel this year has been a great time. But when fans and students tune in to 89.7 FM, what should they expect to hear?
Oh wow, that's a loaded question. I think we have a goal of trying to have 24-hour programming, which means that there's somebody on air hosting a show. But I think it's just every hour is just different. There's last year we had a show that he was just playing old crooner music, and then I know there's a show this year that's doing hip hop, and there was a show last year doing samples and comparing and contrasting how different artists use certain samples. But it's just there's also new shows. I think there's something for everybody at KRUI, and I think that's what makes it so special.
Yeah, and to answer your question, I mean, for some people, who were born this century, right, they might think of radio as a legacy medium, like an old thing. But, podcasting and just audio more generally, audio media, has never, radio really has never gone away. It's just continued in various other forms like podcasting and other things like that. And of course, streaming still continues. It's enormously popular.
Yeah, for sure. How can students get involved in KRUI? Where do they apply or sign up to get involved?
Yeah, well, right now our applications are open for directorship. So if you are a junior, even a sophomore that wants to take some leadership role, I encourage you guys all to apply. But we're at every recruiting event. So we're at the student org fair at the beginning of the fall semester, student org fair at the beginning of the winter semester. We're usually the ones playing the music. So if you follow your way through the speakers, you'll find us. And there's QR codes for you to sign to apply, and you can apply to all of our departments. We have a marketing department, we have a news department, we We have a music department that they kind of, really curate the sound of KRUI. Our news reporters, they go out to cover a lot of shows at Gabe's. They just really want to make sure that the music scene in Iowa City is getting attention.
Yeah, and Emily, you're a student here at the University of Iowa, but like you said, you've taken big steps with KRUI, and so many students have been able to get involved with KRUI, including myself, and that is why it is so important to donate today to One Day for Iowa. Scan the QR codes that'll be up on your screen. They're everywhere. Go to oneday.uiowa.edu. Again, all the money that goes to the School of Journalism, Mass Comm, or to the Daily Iowa to help students like the ones that we've seen all day today on the panel continue to work towards their hopes and dreams of getting into journalism or media or just about any medium in journalism after college. So again, scan the QR codes, go to oneday.uiowa.edu to donate today. I just got an update a little bit ago. We are just under $7,000 as a School of Journalism program here for One Day for Iowa. So keep donating, keep scanning the QR codes. But Emily, I wanted to go back to being a student, and you said there's so many different opportunities for students to get in, but how have you seen this place grow, KRUI grow the last couple of years, and what has really made you excited to come back each year to KRUI?
Yeah, so like I said, I started last year, and I was really kind of nervous because everyone else kind of knew each other, and I was just really the newcomer coming into KRUI, but we have such a good welcoming environment. We try to make sure everyone that comes into our doors, into our station, gets a good feel of how to use this equipment. If there's ever any problems, like it's scary being on air because we are on air, but we can just chat, one of us, and we're able to just like help fix the problems as fast as possible. But I think we had some obstacles this year with getting some recruitment, but once we got that recruitment all ready to go, we've been we're entering a new era of KRUI. We're going to be really focusing on the lab and making sure people have this like experimental and learning environment. So I think I'm really excited to see what KRUI is after I graduate this year. But I've enjoyed my time at KRUI so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm just curious for both of you, what's been your most exciting moment since your time at KRUI?
Yeah. Ooh, Kemper, do you want to go first?
Well, I actually think moving into the IMU, moving into the studios that you all got to see, and when you all cut away before this interview, it's just going from basically essentially being evicted from a dumpy house and then threatened to be put in an even dumpier barn, and then instead getting really state-of-the-art facilities. That was probably, that was about 20 years ago, and that was a real high. And some other highs are just, you mentioned how KRUI is really a community, and people who graduate are strongly bonded to KRUI. So we'll have, every 5 years or so reunions, and it's just been great to see people basically grow up. People I'm still in touch with as faculty advisor. I'm still in touch with people I know who graduated in 2002, and they're out in the world doing amazing things, and I get to see them come back.
Yeah, I think going off of that, for me, it was our 40th. It was really a student planned event, and it was fun to see a lot of the alumni come in, tell us their stories of being on radio. We all have that one horror story. I remember for my first show, I did not turn on the mic for my co-host. So for the entire first 30 minutes of my show, it sounded like I was talking to myself until my friend called me. She's like, "Where's your co-host? I can't hear her." And I go, "Oh, her mic is off." So that's fun. But just being able to interact with the alumni that were coming back for the 40th was really fun last year.
And it's great that, I know at DITV we talk about it's a learning lab, it's a learning environment, so those mistakes are obviously going to be made, but we laugh about them now, but it's great that we have like that environment that'll let us make those mistakes, and similar to KRUI as well too.
It's really supportive. Like, it's not a competitive environment. Everyone's in it in it together, basically.
Yeah, I love that there's majors of everybody. Every major can find a home there. We have like anatomy and phys majors, there's engineering majors, chemistry majors, business majors. It's just a wide variety of people that it's just amazing.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give a shout out to the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, because they're the ones who funded a position for the first time in KRUI's history, where we have a permanent staff person who's there embedded to support the students, not to supplant the students and take over, but to basically provide. One thing that I've seen over the years of 25 years is, there's this institutional memory is a challenge when students are graduating, like every year, and it's hard to maintain an organization, especially a media operation, you know, that is FCC licensed and everything. So just to have someone in the background, you know, doing some heavy lifting so that the students can, you know, basically not have to worry about so many specific details and instead pursue their visions of what the station should be.
Yeah, for sure.
Why do you guys think it's so important for a university like Iowa to provide student radio, and why is it so important for it to continue to be a part and integrated in the university?
Well, I'll start first. Yeah, I mean, first, it's just from my own like historical perspective. I've been, like I said, I've been involved in college radio since I was a freshman in 1989, Middle Tennessee State University, and it's just you can probably speak to this about how it's really empowering to feel like you have this voice that's, you know, magnified, that's broadcasting over the air or on the internet. And first of all, it's, to answer your question, it's a way of connecting the university to the wider community. Also, probably most importantly, you know, KRUI, we've returned to this metaphor of a learning laboratory. And KRUI is the fact that KRUI is a learning laboratory is actually in its mission statement. And by giving students experience, hands-on experience, making media or just being behind the scenes doing marketing or you know, whatever, that stuff, that's real like life experience that you can put on your, you know, resume that really does help you get internships, that helps you get jobs. I've seen it happen for dozens of people over the years as a faculty advisor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did you want to add on?
And just for me, it's been really, really fun. I think everyone always says, oh my God, you work for radio. And I know like my family's always just really like astonished at the fact that there's a radio on campus. I think for them, they also have that idea that radio is something of like the past, but it's I think it's a very alive and present feature on the University of Iowa campus.
Absolutely. We hear about KRUI. I mean, I know I do all the time, and a lot of kids that are in DITV are also tapping into KRUI as well. But tell me a little bit about like the different areas you can get involved in KRUI. You mentioned news, music, sports as well?
Yes, so we have a marketing staff, and they really take care of like our Instagram. Any of the flyers that you see around campus that say KRUI were created by our marketing staff and our marketing director. We have a news staff that does some reporting. I know for the special city council election that we just had in Iowa City, they interviewed both candidates in studio, and so that was really fun to see them do that big reporting. I know we do a lot of stuff in Gabe's and like the Iowa City music scene. So there's a music department that really curate the music that's being played on KRUI.
Yeah, and you know, just to go a little deeper, like with, for instance, sports, you can you know, you can tune into Big Ten TV or whatever, or you know, any other major media source and get the news about, you know, Iowa football, basketball, women's basketball. But what's really cool about KRUI is it's historically been dedicated to like diving into the you know, not more obscure sports, but just the ones that don't get the spotlight shown on them. And it's, you know, it's a way of spotlighting just the amazing stuff that our students do on campus, like as student athletes who don't know, the student athletes who aren't in basketball or football, who don't always get the spotlight shown on them. They at least will get a microphone on them with your KRUI.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience, not just for the students, but the student athletes and everyone that's getting covered as well, to have someone that's their own age being able to cover them and tell their story.
Oh yeah, and you know, it's you know, a lot of the students who work on the sports staff get press credentials, so they get to like have the experience of being in the, you know, in the sports room or whatever, you know, with the big boys and big girls, right? Like, you know, you get to be one of them, and you know, basically you get to be a fly on the wall and see how they do their jobs and how they behave. And you also are a colleague. You're one of them. You have a press pass. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's been great to see where sports goes. I know last semester sports went to UCLA, and then you guys just got back from Indiana and Philadelphia this past couple of weeks. So
yeah, thank you for setting that up for us. It was a lot. Indianapolis was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be able to explore Indianapolis, call those games, and of course, you know, like you said, get out there and be with the big boys.
Yeah,
and big girls out there.
What I do as faculty advisor is like I'm working behind the scenes, like convincing the instructors, the professors who of the students who are being sent to these games, saying, "Yeah, this is actually a legitimate thing. Like this, they're getting real experience. They're not just like going to some game or whatever."
No, we're not just sitting in the stands watching.
Yeah,
We're getting our work done.
Yeah.
But awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us today on the live stream. You guys are awesome. I cannot wait to see how far KRUI goes, and hopefully today, with all these donations coming in, thank you guys so much on our One Day for Iowa live stream. Continue to scan the QR codes. Go to oneday.uiowa.edu. The money continues to roll in, and it goes to organizations like KRUI. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back with another segment. And first, let's check in with Christine and the thermometer on how we're doing with the money coming in.
Hi, folks. So we are now at total of $6,920 in donations. So those, whether you've been here from the beginning or tuning in now, we started down here for our thermometer, and now we went up to 2,000 within the first hour. We grew to 5,000, and now we're at that 6,920 mark. We are $580 away from our goal of 7,500. And even beyond that, we'd love for you guys to participate in a few different challenges that are happening for One Day for Iowa. First, you can join the Photo Mosaic for the Center for Advancement, where you post your favorite Hawkeye photo, mention your selected department, and use the hashtag #OneDayForIowa to have money donated to that department. Then also the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences has a Your Vote, Your Impact campaign, where 5 areas within class have a challenge where each will have a respective $400 donated. So please keep donating, help support students. We've heard so many students' testimonies today, professors, alumni saying, your media matters, we make media that matters. That's definitely our slogan here at SJMC, and we want to support our Hawkeyes now, in the future, as some seniors grow, departments we've seen are changing, have bright futures ahead. So please help us get to $580 difference to get to that $7,500 range. We will have a lot more programming ahead, including a live podcast session going on. So we will have that going on shortly, and we'll toss it back to the studio. Thank you.
Our journeys start here, in this most unique of places where we, like generations before us, find our voice, our meaning, where we add form to our highest ambitions, where we constantly redefine who we are. We need leaders, not followers, doers, not bystanders, believers, not cynics. But where do we find these new industrialists, these tellers of truth? At the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Iowa. For over 100 years, the school has nurtured creative disruptors, information pioneers, and truth revolutionaries who continue to help us to discover, define, and explain the world. From George Gallup in 1923 to the first master's degree awarded to a woman in the study of journalism, this tradition of innovation, imagination, and accomplishment provides us with a roadmap for the future inscribed with the highest ideals and boldest aspirations for our students, our faculty, and the world around us.
The best for me was working at the Daily Iowan. It was a wonderful experience for somebody coming from abroad, and definitely life-changing.
I don't think I was a good advocate for myself until I went to Iowa, and I had some professors that said, you know, you need to advocate for yourself. If you don't know something, if you want to know more, you need to come to me and I'll help you do it. And they did.
The long Friday nights that I spent putting together shows and trying to get them out on the internet before our deadline, those are just memories that I have of working with a handful of people who were just as dedicated as I was.
Some of the most important people in my life I met in Iowa, and they were important to me because they taught me some basic things about humanity and about people that I still carry to this day.
I've got determination and drive, and I want to be creative, and I don't want to feel held back. And the journalism school lets you do everything you can think of and then encourages you to do more.
I would say if you have any kind of curiosity about the world you live in and you want to make the place you live in a better place, journalism is a great, great opportunity, and besides, it's a lot of fun.
Our missions are varied, our tools are diverse. Our culture is inclusive and powerful, but what we all have in common is that we are wired for connection. Connection across time and technology, culture and race. We are the makers, the builders, the dreamers who have a relentless passion for our craft and an unwavering commitment to pursue truth and to ensure that those who come after us continue to build on our legacy of innovation, imagination, and accomplishment. Because in the end, it's about getting it right and having fun along the way, fulfilling our purpose, following our passions, building a better world, and making our dreams come true.
Hi everyone, my name is Kennedy Lean and I am the producer and host of the University of Iowa SJMC podcast. We talk about anything and everything with guests on this podcast, from anything and everything of School of Journalism and Mass Communication. So we're joined by amazing guests throughout this whole semester, and this is our first live episode, so bear with me with this one, but today I'm joined by Director Melissa Tolley. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. We're just going to be talking a little bit about One Day for Iowa and what it does for our students, as well as some little tidbits of personal advice and some fun too.
Awesome.
Alrighty, so like I said, this is Director Melissa Tolley. Do you want to just explain a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Yeah, so I am the director of the School of Journalism and Mass Communication here at the University of Iowa. I am also a professor in the school. I've been at the University of Iowa since 2011, and I've been the director for the last couple of years. I teach classes on the undergraduate level on social media and multimedia storytelling, and on the graduate level, I teach research methodology and global media courses.
Awesome. Yeah, Melissa is involved in so much here at the School of Journalism and keeps everything in check here. And we're so grateful to have you be a part of everything that we do. And I'm excited to get into some of these questions right now. So we'll start with the One Day for Iowa segment. Why is One Day for Iowa so important?
Yeah, well, One Day for Iowa is so important for several reasons. One, it exposes the cool stuff that we do at the University of Iowa, not just in the School of Journalism, but also across campus. So if you're on social media today or on your email or just kind of looking around on Iowa platforms, you'll see so much amazing content and stories from across campus. So I think it's a really great way for the university to share its story and to also share the importance and the power of philanthropy. So One Day for Iowa is about, getting people involved in giving, small gifts, large gifts, any kind of gift, and also to show students and parents and other folks what this money and what these resources do. So it's a really great way to kind of share both the power and outcome of philanthropy, but also what it means to give and how you can think about, your own experience, either as like if you were a student here or a faculty member or whatever it is, like something that was really meaningful to you. And, you may not have even realized it, but it probably was touched by philanthropy. And so I think it's just a great way to do that. And I like all the little challenges and things. It makes it fun, it's sort of gamified giving as well. So for us, it's just a great opportunity to do things like this live stream, which I will say it was put together by staff and students and not by me. I just get to enjoy the awesome work that you guys are doing, and it just shows the kind of amazing things that students and staff and folks at Iowa do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of my own personal experience here at the University of Iowa has been touched by those donations and the philanthropy that we get to experience here at the University of Iowa. And I'm so grateful for those experiences. I mean, I've gotten to do this with our brand new podcast studio. I've gotten to have great breakfasts for the Student Advisory Board, same with meeting faculty members for networking, same with guests that come, meeting them for networking as well. And so a lot of what we do and what we get to do is through this day, which is why it is so important. And my next question for you is more down to the personal level. Why is it important to you?
It's important to me, well, for a couple reasons. One, I think the examples you just gave and the kinds of things, when students are walking around our halls and see a flyer, to go to Chicago on this trip, or to be hired as the next marketing intern, or to meet, this visiting professional, they may not realize that that's actually philanthropic dollars that are supporting that. I realize that, right? Because I get to be the person who says, in some ways, like how to spend our funds. But I also know how important it is. I myself, I'm a first generation college student, so I know what it takes to like have to work in college, or not knowing about student loans or other things that can be stressful, not knowing can I do this can I study abroad, things like that if it was up to me, all students would get to do all of that without any cost. And so one thing that I've been spending a lot of my time doing and thinking about is how we can do that, how we can take this, these monetary gifts, the gifts of time. So you mentioned faculty and visitors, that's giving. People are coming back and giving their time. How we can expose our students to those opportunities and give them, a chance to do things that, if it even costs a little money, even if it wasn't a lot of money, but it could be a barrier. The more we can do to remove those barriers, the more we can open up opportunities to all of our students and give them chances just to try new things is really important. So just knowing that from my own experience in college, and honestly getting in this role now as the director, getting to see how impactful these opportunities can be on our students, it just makes me excited to want to keep pushing and promoting the kinds of things that we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we've mentioned before, we get amazing opportunities, and I know you mentioned something about the trips that students get to go on as one of the donation uses that we get to do here. What are some other specific examples of what some students have gotten to do with donations from One Day for Iowa?
Yeah, so like the big ones, if you think about stuff like trips and places like those are very obvious in some ways, because it's like, okay, yeah, I didn't have to pay for my flight or my hotel room or whatever. But I think the smaller things people don't realize, like the student center. So the student center, which is, upstairs on the 3rd floor, you guys all spend time there all the time. It's very active. It's a really important place in our school for community. It's where students can come and study and hang out. The way we staff the student center with peer mentors and other folks like that, that's using philanthropic dollars to pay those student salaries. The snacks, the coffee and the snacks that we provide, so that's all funding that we're able to put towards those little things, right? That's not a huge, it may not seem huge, but to someone who maybe didn't have breakfast or is really, really busy and doesn't know if they have time to, make it back to their dorm or apartment, and they can jump on one of our computers or, have a coffee. I think those little things are great. Our speed networking as well, which brings professionals to campus. That is part of, those folks are giving their time for free, but, to be able to set it up and do all of that. So any kind of extra opportunity that we have in our school is typically touched in some way by philanthropy. It may not be fully funded by donor support, but it's usually touched in some way. Our student org, so if you're in a student org that's affiliated with the School of Journalism, we have money that we put aside to give to those student orgs. Our scholarships, so our scholarships are huge. This year we're giving away over $300,000 in scholarships. Which is a massive number, and we just want to keep being able to do that. So those are the items that come to mind, kind of immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can tell you there's maybe all handful of those specific examples that you just gave that touch my own life. I mean, scholarships, the Student Center. I sit in the Student Center probably, 5 hours of my day every day? So I utilize those free snacks. Same with all the events I've gotten to go to, the Student Advisory Board. My own job is funded by some of the things that we get to some of the donations here today as well. And so it's really important to all students, and I think that's really important for the audience to hear as well, as what we're creating here at the School of Journalism is so important, but it's detrimental that we get some of these donations to help support that stuff that we get to do. So I know we mentioned a lot of the fun segments that are happening today. One of them is a band, or from the faculty, a faculty like band performance or whatever. That's my personal favorite. I'm really excited for that one, but I'm wondering if you have any fun segments that are happening today, that did happen today.
That did happen, yes. So I've been able to be here, I was here in the morning, and I've been able to watch throughout the day, so it was really fun. As I said, I didn't know the run of show for today because Jake Mayer, really led this and the students, and so it was fun. I put on the stream upstairs. I was like, oh, there's Jeff. Oh, there's Jen. So it's been awesome to see the faculty and students together talking about their experience, because I think that is something that's also special, is when we have opportunities for our community, it also forges bonds between the faculty and the students, and we know that's really important for student success. So it was really fun to see them appear on the feed. I like watching the little thermometer go up. That's fun as well. Just being in here and seeing what folks aren't seeing, all the behind the scenes. So seeing the students behind the camera, seeing them on the board, seeing them kind of running around, problem solving as the day goes on. Uh-oh, this isn't, the audio's not coming on, or what it might, this or that. Those are the kinds of hands-on and real world experiences that have been really, I talk about all the time with people, and so to see it was cool. We kicked off the morning after my introduction with Jason Brumman from the DI, and Jamie and Joel, and they spent some time talking about the community newspapers and the acquisition of those community papers by the Daily Iowan. That's probably been one of the most exciting ventures that we've taken on in the last year, just over a year. So it was fun to see that come up as well. So it's just been a great day to kind of see what I know that is happening, but hear it from the students and hear it from the faculty. One thing that I didn't say earlier, but I definitely want to make sure I mention, is that our faculty obviously are central to our mission, right? And so we also are able to support their research and their creative endeavors and their professional development through philanthropy. So that's incredibly important. If they need to travel for a conference or to do research or to create their work, they need that opportunity too. And then they bring that back. They bring that back to the classroom. They bring that back to their graduate students. And so it's all interconnected. And seeing the faculty and students sit together up here reminded me that it's really an interconnected thing.
Yeah, I think from speaking from my personal experience, I have so many deep connections with a lot of my professors and faculty members here that I don't know if I would necessarily get in other programs or at another school, which I think has a lot to do with how much they care for their students and how much they want us to learn the best of the best. And I think you can kind of see that with the students running this today, that we have been taught well and we can perform a really good live stream for a really important event. And I think, it's so important and it's so great to touch on.
Yeah, sure. And what I always tell people, and I think today's an example of it, is that, Iowa's a Big Ten university, right? It's an amazing university, a large campus, vibrant, but when you're in the School of Journalism, you feel like you're part of a smaller college and university community, right? Because you do know your faculty members, you do know the staff, you do know the graduate students, and so it's like the best of both worlds, because you're in a world-class research institution. You could walk down the street and go do biochemistry. There's all of those opportunities, but when you're here in our school and getting to know our faculty, you do know them, and that's really cool. I think that's a special thing about SJMC, and seeing this effort today shows me that you know, I'm just so proud that the people are just, they're doing this. They took on this cool challenge, and that to me is a reflection of the kind of training students had, but also the willingness to just try something new.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think that sense of, you know, yeah, let's give it a go is really, really important in media industries in general, but just as like a way to be like, don't be afraid, you know, try it out. Well, what's the worst that's going to happen? The microphone's not going to work, or you're not going to know how to read a teleprompter like me, you know? It's okay. It's okay to have those experiences. That's why we do it, and that's just going to make you better and stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going off of that, we're going to head into our advice segment now. I think we have a time for a couple questions here, just kind of about your life. So what did you do as a college student to get this spot where you're at as the director of school?
Yeah, oh my. So I went to Boston College, so I'm originally from the Boston area, and I was a communication and English major. So as I mentioned earlier, I had to work, you know, while I was in college, and so I actually worked in our, like, what would be called there, like the registrar type of office. So I worked on the catalog, but I got experience in the kind of the early days is when it was going from a print catalog to a digital catalog. I got experience with like creating digital, like kind of just old-fashioned digital content, and I got some opportunities to create some content for our office of admissions and registrar, and that was a really cool thing to do. So it was an on-campus job, but it had some relations to the things I wanted to do, which again is something that I think is really still important. Like on-campus jobs are amazingly important, and so that was a great thing to do. And while I was in college, I did some other internships. Like I interned at local cable news. I interned at a B2B business magazine. So I did some of those professional types of things while I was a student. And then when I was graduating, you know, getting into my senior year, thinking about what I wanted to do next, I actually realized that I wanted to go to graduate school and potentially continue on an academic path. So I went from Boston College to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I got my master's and PhD there. And I focused on a research degree. So my background is really in research and in global media studies. I do a lot of work in East Africa and on African media. And so from there, I came here and started out as an assistant professor, a tenure track assistant professor in 2011. And I've just been here ever since, kind of working my way through the tenure process. And now I'm here. But I never forget those moments, you know, of being an undergrad and having to work and having to figure out how to apply for an internship and doing those things and not always knowing what I was doing. And so I think about that a lot, you know, when I think about what we can provide to our students. I'm happy that sometimes it didn't work out, you know, because I do think you have to learn how to take rejection and failure. But I think those kinds of opportunities that I had were so important, and so to kind of continue offering those.
Yeah, I think that's so important for everyone to hear, just because it's nice to know that our director is thinking about our students in this way and thinking back to when you were in that position as well and how that felt for you, and then being able to give those students the same opportunities is so beneficial for them. But going back to your time, like you said, you started as an assistant professor. What has been your proudest or favorite moment from your time at the School of Journalism?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm proud of several things. One, as I mentioned about my research, so my research is in kind of digital media. I do work on news literacy. I do work on African media, misinformation. So in my research, I'm proud of the kind of work that I've produced. I think it's had both impact in the scholarly community and it has practical implications, but also the kinds of graduate students that I've been able to attract to come to Iowa. We have a really strong cohort of students from Africa, which I think is really cool and allows us to continue to do research in an understudied area. So our graduate students get to travel and do fieldwork and other things. So I'm really proud of what we've built around global media and African media on the research front. On the sort of administrative side, some of you know, because some of you were there, last year was our 100th anniversary, and so I was very new in my position, and having to, step in the 99th year and think about how we were going to celebrate 100 years and how important that was. I'm really proud of what we did last year, celebrating the 100 years of this this school and thinking about the future. We had an amazing event on campus, but more importantly, we connected faculty, students, alumni, just in new and creative ways. I think the impact of that 100th anniversary will be felt for a long time. So I'm really, really proud of that. As something that, if you asked me last year at this time, we would have been getting ready for it. The staff will tell you I just thought every day was Thursday because it was so hard to keep track. It was really stressful, but the way it came together and just how much people enjoyed and appreciated and still bring up that experience, I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, I will say whenever I ask any student or faculty member what their favorite moment is, it's always the 100th year anniversary. I feel like I hear it all the time, and I think that shows that we did a really good job preparing for that. I was at the 100th year anniversary dinner, and it was probably one of my favorite moments of my collegiate career as well, just being able to connect with all of these alumni that have amazing careers and be able to speak with them about my future and what I wanted to do was just so beneficial for me. But I also it was my first time seeing like faculty, staff, everyone outside of school. So it was also fun getting to just talk to them on a personal level as well about those things that you don't really get to talk about usually, or talking to them about classes or what's next for a project. And so that was also really cool to just be able to experience. So I think, it goes to show how important that event was, not only to alumni, faculty, staff, but also the students. And I'm so proud to be able to be a part of those years as well at the School of Journalism.
And I think what you said about the faculty, I'm also really proud of the faculty that we have and the culture that we've built in the school. So the fact that the faculty support each other, support the students, are willing to come on and sit on, be on stage here, throughout the day. I think our faculty, again, as I said, they're so important to what we do, and appreciating them as full people, as you mentioned. And I think that's another really cool thing is I do think in SJMC, like, we do appreciate kind of the whole person and the whole experience, and we want people to know that there's more to life, and having fun at a party is also a good thing.
Yes. Yes, for sure. All right, my next question for you is, do you have a favorite moment of this year, 2024-25?
Ooh, okay. So this year so far, what's been really cool? We have a couple big things coming up, so they might end up topping off, but I'll go back to the fall and say the homecoming celebration, to keep the 100th year theme alive. In fall 24, we did some celebrations around homecoming, and we walked in the parade, and we had a really nice brunch tailgate celebration. That was, again, one of those opportunities to see people kind of in a different atmosphere, walking in the parade, celebrating the school. But the important thing there is that's also the community. And so we're walking down, the streets of Iowa City holding our, SJMC signs and American Needs journalists and wearing our Iowa SJMC shirts and just reminding people that journalism is really important. Young people are doing journalism, doing strategic communication, getting into these careers like that. You all are the future. And so just to be able to participate in that and have folks cheer and see the work we do. And then we had some cool pictures that were featured on the UIowa main homepage. So that was another one of those really fun opportunities. We've also had really amazing professional opportunities for our students. I think folks were on earlier talking about the Chicago Sports Media Experience. That was our second year running that. But the second time you do something, it always levels up, and so it was really fun to see that. So those have been some special things. We have really cool stuff coming up. April's always busy for us, so this year, thankfully, we don't have to celebrate 100 years. 101's cool, but it doesn't get a gala. But we have our board coming into town. We do our Hall of Fame. We have Director Steve James coming into town, the director of Hoop Dreams. So we have some really cool things coming in the next couple of weeks. We have students from the Adler Agency getting to showcase their work with Bible and archaeology. So I always think of April as sort of the, we've all come out of the winter doldrum, like we're all like, ta-da! And so we get to showcase a lot of what we do in April. So keep checking our social and our feeds for what's coming up in April, because it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm so lucky to be able to get to be behind a lot of those things. As the social media marketing intern, I get to experience all of these kind of on a behind the scenes level, which has been really cool to experience. And then I also get to experience some of those things firsthand too, being a part of the different projects and lunches and all that jazz. And so, yeah, I would agree. April is such a fun time for our School of Journalism, and what a great way to kick it off with this live stream as well.
I did forget to say one big one. How could I forget? We have our student exhibition and scholarship event in April. So that's another one of those opportunities. Again, I'll give Michelle Silman, who's our internship and placement coordinator, all the credit. She had this idea like, hey, our students do amazing work. We showcase it in some venues, but like, let's showcase it here, right here in AJB. So we have this amazing showcase of student work, and we recognize our scholarship recipients. And that's a really important part of our April celebrations, because again, students get to see each other succeed. They get to see their faculty in a different environment. They get to see oftentimes our donors come, and it's really, really cool. And so that's in a couple weeks as well. So I'm excited about that event.
Absolutely. And then we'll go into our final segment, which is something we do at the University of Iowa SJMC podcast every week. It's just a fun question to kind of end off the podcast. Because we talked so much about school, we kind of like to move away from it. So my question for you is, what's your favorite thing outside of school at the moment, and why?
Okay, so I really like basketball. So it's been, spring break was watching a lot of basketball, men's, women's, college, but I also like the NBA. As I said, I'm from the Boston area, so I'm a Celtics fan. So right now, it's probably watching basketball. In the winter, my daughter plays basketball, so going to her youth games. So kind of anything basketball related, which has been super, super fun. I love that. And then I like to, now that it's getting, even in the winter, the folks who work in the office can attest, I walk to work. I try to make sure I walk, I bundle up, but I'm excited to get out and walk my dog and just be outside. Looking forward to going on some hikes, doing things like that. So I'm really looking, and every day I look out the window and I'm like, okay, it's 7:08 and it's still light out. I'm looking forward to those longer days, being able to sit outside, have a happy hour, go for a walk, all of that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm talking to my mom right now. Yeah, she would probably have said that exact same answer. Basketball.
She can hang out. We can hang out.
Yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping the weather stays nice for you then, so you can keep doing all those things. Once again, my name is Kennedy Lean. I was joined by Director Melissa Tolley for the live podcast for the SJMC department. Again, I am your host, and I will see you guys in a couple of weeks for our next episode. You can tune in on Spotify, Apple Music, and this should be on YouTube as well if you want to just watch this. So, all right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thanks, Kennedy.
Thank you.
We are at $7,045. We are so close to our goal of $7,500. $7,165 actually just got that update. So we are so excited to be so close to our goal. Hey, maybe I need to draw a new thermometer. Let's make that happen before we end today, maybe. But you can keep donating, keep supporting students. We make media that matters. We can't encourage that more than enough. We have all of the productions here at the DI, all of our classrooms, professor research. Thank you, Director Melissa Tully, for bringing that to us. We cannot say this enough, that this One Day for Iowa matters. It matters to support students, faculty, everybody. So please celebrate SJMC today by donating. You can donate $10 to either, onedayforiowa.org, SJMC 25, or $10 to onedayforiowa.org, DI 25, or hey, $10 to each. We thank you so much, and we're going to throw it back to the studio.
And on behalf of the entire Adler journalism faculty and staff and students, thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of One Day for Iowa.
It's been a phenomenal day. We are so close to our goal of $7,500. Continue to scan the QR codes. Continue to go to oneday.uiowa.edu to donate. All the proceeds go to helping out the students here at the University of Iowa. Continue to push for their hopes and dreams after college. Plenty of thank yous to go around, starting with the guests today. At the beginning, it was the Adler Agency Group that came on. Thank you to them for joining us, the Chicago Sports Media Experience. A great interview there as well, along with the Sport Media and Culture major and the Association for Women in Sports Media, KRUI, and CMC. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today to make this live stream work and to go so well. And of course, thank you to the DITV staff, for everyone behind the cameras, in the control room, Jake Mayer for setting all of this up, Angie, Looney, Randy, thank you so much for everybody to get this all set up, have it run so smoothly, and raise so much money, but still, so much more can be raised. Continue to scan these QR codes. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in to this One Day for Iowa live stream, and go Hawks.